Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, the world's biggest Harry Kane fan who turned up last night. We are bringing you the tactical breakdown with co-host Jack Kinikalenko. How are you keeping? North London is white, baby.
North London's white, Dave. North London was easy to take. It was easy to conquer, clearly. All the fuss, all kind of, the hype around it. Honestly, just really wasn't, much for it, Dave. We probably shouldn't have even, spent, such a week, in tension, because clearly the boys had it under control. Clearly they knew what they were doing. Conte's looking at top four, thinking that it probably should be theirs. And maybe that a certain few fixtures in the past, maybe a little while ago, kind of came to haunt us and are kind of holding us back. But clearly, Dave, we know which team is the better of the North London teams. And one of them's not even, as we know, they're North London dwellers, Dave, or they're North London renters, as maybe we should call them. But 4-3 on aggregate, I think, as well, Dave, when you look at it. So best team there is, White London. There you
are. Exactly. And as you can see, me and Jack, we are showing a bit of courtesy to the Arsenal fans. We are mourning the loss of Arteta, so we're in all black today. We just couldn't help but bring some white into it. But look, all in all, guys, yesterday, absolutely brilliant victory. Arsenal fans are absolutely salty all over social media. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was up late watching them cry. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I was feeding off their tears, and I'm still buzzing today. I woke up, my blanket was up here. I was on such a stiffy, waking up to Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The vibes is absolutely unbelievable. But look, we will get into it in just a little bit. I just want to see how the chat is today. I'm sure they're absolutely buzzing. Let's see who we've got with us today. We've got Dermot. Big up, my man. Please, everyone, if you see sad and crying Arsenal fans, don't feel bad for him. Just stand there and laugh, because we are the pride of North London and we are going to the Champions League, baby. Woo! Sorry, Dermot, that was a bit weak, man. My voice is gone after yesterday. As you can see, I was bouncing everywhere yesterday. But no, look, we need them to slip up. We really do need them to slip up. And that's why we'll all be watching the game Monday night, in hopes, my man. And he says, ladies and gentlemen, live from Kildare, Ireland. It's the main event of the evening with all the stats and how we beat the scum. Please all together and sing. We are Tottenham, super Tottenham. We are Tottenham from the line. Big up, Dermot. Mick Hermalock's in the building. Good evening, Jack and Dave. I'm still buzzing from last night. Come on, you Spurs. We all are bouncing around the place today. The regular says, I wish I could relive yesterday already. Everything that happened yesterday was perfect. Come on, you Spurs. And to the scum, North London is ours. Absolutely love that, regular. Yesterday it was absolutely perfect. Few talking points which we will go into as it comes along. I have one controversial one about the sun being taken off. We'll get into that in a while. There's also the controversy around the penalty. Some Spurs fans unhappy we didn't go for the kill, so we will be talking about that during it, guys. Ayanami says, Mickey Mouse Arteta in the mud. Yes, he is. And do you know what? Do you know what's best? We beat them 3-0 for them to celebrate his new contract. I mean, he's tied down for quite some time. It's absolutely brilliant. Big up, Ayanami. Zoe's in the house. Big up, Zoe. Guys. She was looking for a stream earlier in the Irish Hotspur group chat. Well, you've got it. Hopefully you enjoy it. Big up, Zoe. Tequila 316, my man. Big up, everyone. So glad Arsenal gave Arteta a new contract. I think we all are, lad. I think we're all buzzing off that. Rob Coyne with the badge beside his name, just like the regular, just like Dermot, just like Zoe. Big up, Robbie. Arteta still laughing from that one. Beautiful day here in Massachusetts and still buzzing. I mean, honestly, his words in the press conference were an absolute joke. I mean, the guy's just so salty. It's just unbelievable. But Conte's response was classy, and I'm going to read that out here. He complains a lot. He has to focus on his work and continue to work because he's very good. To hear someone complain all the time is not so good. At Liverpool, do you hear me complain about Fabinho? Nope. He can take my advice if he wants, but I do not care. I mean, Jack, you talk about the class of the man and his responses. I mean, that's classy, right?
I'm actually surprised Dave he's had to teach the same lesson, 2 times, in 2 separate weeks. He said, I don't know, Dave, a carbon copy version of this to Jurgen Klopp the other day, where he was saying, Jurgen, he needs to focus more on his team, needs to not, focus on the, the things outside of, his team, needs to focus on maybe what he did wrong. perhaps, what his team could have done wrong, and, like console more his team, not focus on the other things as much, be more of a professional, even what I think he said to Jurgen Klopp. And more or less, Dave, he's just saying that more blatantly in a way here. I'm actually, Conte, I think the first time he was being a bit more delicate, Dave, because, he's, trying to, have a bit of, humility, show a bit of class. And then this time, to be honest, he's still showing the class, but he's kind of just probably getting tired of teaching the same lesson, Dave.
I'd say he is. I mean, honestly, the guy blaming the referee, it was just childish. I mean, at the end of the day, right? He's blaming the referee probably to take the heat off his players.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one that sent Rob Holding out there to man mark Sonny. He's the one that sent him out there with that tactic. Now, it's not Conte's fault. He outsmarted Conte and got Son to drop into space. Look, we'll get into it, but it's unbelievable.
But just quickly though, I'm not really sure though, like what even Arsenal fans and even Arteta are exactly even complaining about referee wise, Dave. Because to be honest, usually, you know us, Dave, we kind of love, kind of the S-housery, elements of the game, and we would, I think, hold up our hand if, the calls, didn't go, if the calls were lucky, if, we benefited from it, we probably would take more of a laugh out of it if, they were kind of, maybe to the benefit of us. But I've heard plenty of people that really are just, complete neutrals say that the referee got every single call correct, throughout the game. And Arsenal are talking about, at some stages, Dave, they're talking about conspiracies, against them. The referees are going against conspiracies. And I'm not sure about you, Dave, but I kind of remember the referees single-handedly carrying them through certain fixtures recently. In the case of Man United, I believe in the case of Chelsea as well. They're talking about Sonny going down easy. I mean, I think I saw Bukayo Saka, Dave, use Azpilicueta's arm to drag himself down to the floor. And the referee, I believe, initially gave it a penalty. Then it was appealed to VAR for him to take a look at it because they were telling him it wasn't a penalty. He decided to keep his decision. So I don't know about conspiracy, Dave. If any conspiracy, it's more for Arsenal's side than it is, against them.
Yeah.
And then in the case of Man United, I remember Man United had two absolute penalty shouts, blatant, definite penalty shouts. And the one that Arsenal get, Dave, is the exact same carbon copy of Son's, if not actually a bit harder to give a penalty, if you ask me. And I don't know, Dave, they were so quick to give it a penalty via VAR. So, Dave, if you ask me, I mean, I don't know what conspiracy there is against them. In fact, there's a conspiracy to keep them in top four. That's what I've actually been, preaching.
No, 100%. And I mean, look, there's a lot more. That was just a summary of his quotes. Do you want to hear the whole quote, Jack?
No, I don't know if I do, but probably the Harris Army needs to, Dave. The Harris Army needs to,
it's even
don't
better.
Think about me.
He complains a lot. He has to focus more on his team. He has to focus more on his work. He has to continue to work because he's a very good coach. To hear someone complain all the time is not so good. At Liverpool, do you hear me complain about Fabinho and all the fouls? No. He can take my advice if he wants, but if not, I don't care. I listen and he complains a lot. I think he has to be more focused on his team and not to complain because he just started his work. He has to be calm and try to continue to work. To listen to a coach complain a lot of the time is not good. It's absolutely brilliant.
Even look at Chris's, comment right here. He says he even ahead of this game, Chris was looking forward to probably hating on Paul Tierney. He was looking forward to, Paul Tierney proving him right because he doesn't rate Paul Tierney. And Chris is saying he got every decision right. And I think as much as Chris, has the bias of a Spurs fan, Dave, I mean, that's kind of the least bias you can get as a Spurs fan because he was getting ready to not like Paul Tierney. I know Dark Sun G was the same way, Dave. Dark Sun G was afraid, with Paul Tierney being named the referee. In fact, we had a conspiracy that they hired Paul Tierney to give them the win, Dave, because we didn't have a good record, with Paul Tierney as well. So I don't know, Dave, it's a bit shocking that they're blaming the referee, and it's sometimes you just got to look at yourselves, Dave. And we as Spurs fans, we're quite humble. We often do look at ourselves. We often do, point towards the players. Plenty of Spurs fans seem to point towards Conte and a lot of, things we get wrong. But I don't know, Dave, Arsenal fans, they just don't have that humility, I guess.
No, look, we expect nothing less from them, to be honest with you, Jack. But look, let's keep going through the chat. The Bottom Dude says, come on, you Spurs. Greetings, everyone. Big up the Bottom Dude. Good to see you in the building, my man. Amir Sardar, big up Amir. What a performance, everyone. Put in a proper shift. Now we must do the business against Burnley. Yeah, And even Conte alluded to that in his press conference after, which I love. Big up Amir. Ian Ferguson says, afternoon all. Dybala's agent in London. Look, if hopefully it's to come and see Tottenham, it would not surprise me if Arsenal flew him in on an emergency flight last night, just to try and get one over on us afternoon. It would not surprise me. But what we should do is let them put him up in the hotel and then just secretly go and meet him, get the deal done, and then thank them and then charge them for the hotel bill. That's what we should do. Add more salt into the wounds. Ian Ferguson said, big up Ian Ferguson.
Big up Ian.
Who won Pierre? Man of the match, Paul. I'll be honest with you, Rob. When I last looked at it, it was Harry Kane. But for about an hour after that, I didn't look at it because I was just bouncing around, buzzing with the results. So I'm not sure. I'm not even going to lie to you. I do not know.
Rob, I'm actually waiting on Peacock over here in the USA. I think Rob is in the same boat here. I'm actually waiting on Peacock to release the replay of the game because I want to rewatch the whole game because I'm hearing so many people say Pierre was the man of the match. And people that normally wouldn't say that Pierre is man of the match, kind of level-headed, I feel like sort of people that are, giving it to Pierre, which makes me really want to rewatch the game because it's not the one that comes to mind. So it makes me want to rewatch the game.
Yeah, big up, Rob. I definitely want to, because people were saying how good he was after the game. They said, look, I'm looking at the game. I thought he had a good game, but a lot of people are saying it was exceptional by all means. So look, we've already watched what we could, but we'll have another look at it for sure. But Angel Mattis is in the house. You're my darling Angel. Remember I signed that to you yesterday. I was buzzing, my man. Anyone know what time the North London Derby starts? Big up, my man. I mean, we should be chanting, can we play you? Can we play you? Can we play you every week? Can we play you every week?
I mean, Angel, they didn't show up 2 times at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this year, my man. Two separate occasions they couldn't show up at the stadium, my man. It's a bit sad.
I love it. Big up, King Hoddle's in the building. Another brilliant team performance following on from a commendable draw at Anfield. We showed great resolve, commitment, and composure in what was a high-pressure, must-win game. Come on, you Spurs. I mean, absolutely summed up perfectly.
Should have
King
had 6
used
points.
to be writing articles, my man. If there was one night I was on the cheese room and I was putting in stuff, it took me like 10 messages. King Hoddle comes in, Jack, 2 lines, sums my points up, and I'm just like, for God's sake, man, you're making a show of me. King Hoddle, if you want to start writing articles for the Irish Hotspur, get in contact, brother. I like what you have to say, my man.
Yeah, put him up on the community page.
All right, he says, what a nice day to start with a smile. Matty Spurs put those scums in the right place. We're South London. I did put up a little message on Twitter last night just saying, look, if anyone is looking for Arsenal, they now claim to be residing in South London. So, if you are looking for Arsenal fans to chase around and that, you
more familiar territory for them, Dave, anyways, back to where they belong.
I love it. Look, I said it on the pre-match. I think I said it on the pre-match pump up when we were talking TV. I like the look of his hair. It was absolutely fantastic. I watched him walking in, and he just looked ready. I did say it was a bit on the short side. I think if he just had that bit more length, Tequila, he probably would have got the hat-trick because it's the aerodynamics with the wind that flows through it. When he's gracing it, the galloping across, not even galloping across the top of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium turf. Just a bit more length and it's perfect. But big up Tequila.
I think we all know it's Bentancur. I think it was Ben Kaufman or Adam William Cahill who said Bentancur is the best hair. I think that is a solid shout.
Well, it's not. Look. Obviously, I'm starstruck, so I'll only see Harry's. Graham says, "Big up, Graham. Evening, Dave and Jack. North London is ours. Big up, my man.
Big up, Graham.
Man. I'd say you were buzzing. Did you get to the game yesterday? I'm sure you did, but let me know if you had fun. Let me know if
with all the AFTV interviews, Dave. They should have just put Graham on there. To be honest, I think Graham, would have actually had a good one. Very wise, kind of interview. Would have, spoke about all the times that Arsenal fans, kind of have given him, kind of the banter and everything. And honestly, he would have had probably plenty of mic drops. So Graham, again, another invite. Even send in the fan camps or something, Graham, because honestly, want to get your thoughts on the game. Big up, Graham.
Jack, Graham wouldn't have time to be on AFTV. Graham would be chasing AFTV out of London.
That's right. That's
what he'd be doing. Big up, my man. Stephen Cartwright says, I hate Arsenal, I hate Arteta, and I hate Sky. Well, I mean, look, they're all in mourning today. They're all, very quiet today, my man. Stephen. We hate them all. Look, they're all so biased against us. And the thing is, everybody hates us, even the Premier League. The fact they're making us play this game, at 12 o'clock on a Sunday morning, it's absolutely absurd. And give them Arsenal until Monday. I mean, it's an absolute joke. Like, we play Sunday. Their game is moved to Monday for TV and everything else to big up the top four run. We're just being shafted. Plus, they wouldn't let us rearrange the Leicester game. I mean, they just can't help themselves, Stephen. They're all in it together, my man. All in it together. Arsenal fans come up with conspiracy theories about the referee. But I think mine isn't a conspiracy theory. Mine is true. They are all in it together, my man. Michael Bennett says, go on.
I mean, we couldn't get any favors, Dave, from the rest of the Premier League. Couldn't get any favors from the actual FA of the Premier League. So, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's everybody hates us. And in fact, I thrive off that. I enjoy that, if I'm honest. Michael Bennett says, still buzzing now, boys. Amazing performance from every player yesterday and the fans as well. Come on, you Spurs. I actually do want to just quickly give the home fans there, the Spurs fans, credit yesterday. I mean, look, credit to Anthony Ferrin. He went to the game. He's a guy from Ireland that travels over. So when he goes over, he'll be sending us all stuff that's going on at the stadium. We'll be putting it up for you guys out there. But I've seen loads. I've seen it everywhere, all over social media. And the place was absolutely electric last night. I spoke to Ben from We Are Talking TV yesterday. And I kind of didn't want the answer because I knew it was going to hurt me. But I said, Ben, was the atmosphere better than when we bet West Ham? And he said, Dave, the atmosphere was the best I've ever experienced. And you're talking about a guy that goes home, away, all across Europe.
Wow.
And he said that's the best he's ever experienced. And for the whole South Stand getting in early and creating that tifo, unbelievable. But I don't want to see it just for one game. Now, I know we had this discussion pre-game, and I get what Philip was saying about it kind of ruins it if you're rolling it out every game. But in my opinion, right, like certain games, like Brighton, crowd wasn't really there. But then we accuse the players of not getting up for these games. But yet the crowd wasn't either. And my belief is that we should be creating that sort of atmosphere every game, no matter the opponent, to lift the players, because it clearly lifts them.
And Burnley's kind of set up, Dave, to be kind of what Philip Brady is sort of afraid of, with the crowd not being there, because early kickoff, Sunday, after the whole weekend of people, kind of doing whatever festivities or whatever they're doing, this weekend, Dave, they're going to be kind of late rolling in, you might think, probably hate to say it, people might not be having as many drinks and whatever, hanging out in anticipation beforehand. They're probably waking up, almost 2 hours before kickoff, in some cases. You kind of might be a bit afraid that the fans won't be able to, carry, the team through this one. But you'd like to think with a team like Burnley, they should be good enough to carry the team through to be able to do it. But yeah, Dave, it's a good point what Philip Brady's making. And you would say this Burnley fixture is kind of set up to happen again with what he was talking about.
But correct me if I'm wrong, though, Jack. Is this Burnley game not just as important as the North London Derby? Now, I mean, Conte alluded to it. There's no point of celebrating the North London Derby if you're not going to follow up on Sunday morning. You're
more than right. You're more than right. I mean, I spoke about Liverpool in this fixture as kind of the two trials of, and tribulations, kind of the two big tests, the big crunch times, you could say. And we passed them, to be fair, with flying colors, honestly. We actually could have passed it with extra credit, and a cherry on top had we got the 3 points against Liverpool. But it doesn't stop there. It's not like, then, you can just breathe and relax. Like there's no breathing yet. You still come up against Burnley, and likely this is the best chance for maybe Arsenal to drop points, but it's possible they don't. I mean, they've been handed favors this whole time. It still will come down maybe to the last minute, the last second, of the Premier League, when we go up against Norwich, Dave. So it could be almost like a Man City, QPR kind of sort of, situation. Who knows? But yeah.
Very easily. Jason Bell says, big up, lads. I'm still buzzing. It's going to be rough when I finally come down. No, look, I'm not coming down until Sunday. And if we win Sunday and Arsenal lose Monday, that continues me all the way through to Norwich. So, I mean, I'm set. All it takes is beating the Gooners, watching them cry. I mean, I'll be honest. Look, for me, I stuck my neck out there this week. I wasn't nervous going into it. Now, I didn't have to come out and say that because the potential of me being kicked and put everywhere is very high, but I don't mind anyway, right? But the thing is, I said it, look, they don't intimidate me. There's no fear factor there. Home side always wins North London Derby. We're winning this. I went round to Arsenal channels. We're gonna win 4-0. You know, I'm expecting a big performance. We're just gonna turn you into little boys. Oh, well, get ready to be clipped. Oh, I'm ready. Clip me now. Clip me now. That's what I want. That's what I want, baby. But big up, Jason. Never coming down from this. Jack, like I did tell you what Graham would be doing. I did tell you what he was doing. Big up, Graham. I love it. Big up, my man.
Graham, honestly, Graham's been there so long, Dave, and he's been there so long, he should probably be charging them rent. You know, Graham, you should probably be charging them rent because, you know, like I said, the North London dwellers, you know, Graham, honestly, you've been such an OG fan of Spurs that you should be charging them rent at this stage, Graham, but you're probably too nice to be doing that.
Man. Big up, Graham. I hope you had a good day. I'd say it was like Christmas morning for you waking up yesterday. Go Getter says, everywhere we go, it's the top boys making all the noise. Big up, Go Getter. Good to see you in the building. Dark Song G, he's still buzzing. I knew it. Dark Song G, actually, I would appreciate if you could email me. I have something I want to ask you. So look, I'll just put it out there. Look, basically, we were looking at a way of getting out to Korea for pre-season, but it's just way too expensive with everything that's going on right now. It's way too expensive. So I want you to get in contact with me to see if you can maybe do a few bits out there for me. Let me know if you're interested, Dark Song G. But he says, we brought down Gooners back to reality after their gifted 4 wins. I can't believe that the Gooners complained about the pen. Their pen versus Blues is worse. Well, look, Dark Song G, we will actually get into the penalty. I think Jack alluded to it, you know, about that penalty being worse anyway. But we will get into it about the penalty because we've done our homework and it's a penalty. If what occurs for what we're going to show you occurs, because I don't want to give it away, occurs outside the box, it's a free kick. So in my book, if it's inside the box, if we're being consistent and we're being fair, that makes it a penalty, Dark Song G. But stay tuned because we will show you. But big up, Dark Song G.
Dark Song G, if you follow me on Twitter, my man, I made a similar point, you know, on Twitter because it's actually quite appalling. It just shows also maybe they just kind of have, you know, maybe the memory of a goldfish, maybe perhaps Dark Song G, some of these Arsenal fans, because they couldn't even cast their mind back that far to the Chelsea game. A lot of them have been bringing up the Man United one. I was like, Dark Song G, do they not realize that, you know, they just saw Saka like drag himself down for a penalty and, you know, it was actually awarded and, you know, they were celebrating it and, you know, somehow there were even pundits rationalizing it. I don't know, Dark Song G, it's disgusting. And I'm glad you see it the same way I did. Big up, my man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But big up, Dark Song G. Good to see you in the building, my man. P.O. Block just wants the crisp and simple, put in white everywhere. Absolutely love it, my man. In fact, I know Spurs fans that have been enjoying it that much. They've just got out the white paint and start painting skirting boards and doors and everything just because they love that white that much. They're getting all the handiwork done around the house as well. Big up, P.O. Block. Good to see you in the building. Catalano Pena, out of here from Scum. The ref, this and that. Yeah, look. I mean, look, for being honest, we knew they were going to look for an excuse to get out of it. We knew. Why we even... I'll be honest, right? I actually don't take offense to what Arteta says, what the Arsenal fans say. I actually take it as a compliment. The fact that we've beaten them that much into submission, that they're all coming out looking for little wormholes to crawl out of, just shows how good of a job we've done. So in a roundabout way, we're actually praising Tottenham. And that's what I love about it. I always look on the positive side of things. Welsh Guy says, big up, lads. So thrilled with the result last night. Spurs smashed the Scum. Lucky only Spurs fans in the pub. Well, Welsh Guy, I do hope you weren't too hungover today because I'd say the drinks were probably flowing in that pub. If not,
she drinks the IPAs, Dave. She's hardcore. I've said this before. She drinks the IPAs, which are a bit stronger than the regular, you know, kind of Pilsner and lager and whatnot, Dave. So, you know, she kind of pounds those back. So, I don't know. Maybe she was nervous, so she wasn't having as many, or maybe she was nervous and she was having more than usual. But all I can say when she's just said, you know, a few IPAs, I was like, wow, you know, she's hardcore. She's hardcore. Big up, Welsh Gal.
Big up, Welsh Gal. Big up. Hope you enjoyed your night. Dark Zone G says that red card was fair. Doesn't he remember Coco's? I mean, exactly. Look, when it's given to one of our players, like Lamella, like you said, Dark Zone G, Oh, it's deserved. Oh, that's a blatant red card. When it's given to Holding, who, may I add, actually lived up to his name. I mean, someone should have told him, look, that's just your last name. It goes on the back of your jersey. We don't literally want you to be Holding people. But he took his name too literal last night, Dark Sun G, and they are failing to understand that. That's what that is, my man. Again, big up for the support, and please let me know if you can do what we're asking you to do. Ricky Nado's in the building. Big up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Good to see you in. We've got Spurs related. Everybody, I will be putting it up in the community section when I'm finished. But get over and check out his Spurs match day blog. It is unbelievable. James, put the link to it in the chat, my man. Put it in there.
Big up,
Leon,
James.
big up. He says, evening, lads. Good to see you, Leon. I hope you enjoyed it, my man. We've got Roy Park. What suspension was Arteta so afraid of? Cat got your tongues. No, you got battered and can't handle it. Come on, you Spurs.
Love it, Roy. Love it, Roy.
Roy. There's something with Roy's, Jack. I mean, Roy Keane is a bit, harsh, which I love. And now Roy Park is. Big up, Roy. Never change. Keep living up to the name, my man. THF Coy says, sweetest victory ever. I mean, honestly. Look, in a way, they're the ones that kind of built it up to being the biggest North London derby ever. We went along with it. We played their game, and we smashed them. And that's what makes it even sweeter. Do you know what? Do you know what part I loved, right? Do you know what part that made it the sweetest for me, Jack? 85 minutes in the Sky Sports camera pan across the away end, and it's just empty seat after empty seat. Or if you go back and look at the corner Son took for the goal, there's a kid standing there absolutely giving him dog's abuse. Well, Son stepped up, delivered the perfect corner. If I was Son, I would have just turned around to the kid and given him the fingers and started laughing at him. Honestly, talk about karma, Jack.
And in true Arsenal fashion, Dave, 86th minute, where did that kid go, Dave? He ran away.
He ran home looking for pocket money for the ice cream van today to get a 99 to make himself feel better. Yeah. I love it. Scott Einham says, big up Flat Cap crew and all. Let's carry on big winning ways. Coming on with the winning ways. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Scotty. Good to see you in the building. Big up, Chris. I hope you're keeping well, brother. Good to see you in. James Watson says, Arteta is perfect for Arsenal. Get bar 3-0 and said, I'm so proud of my players. And James, me and Jack were saying this last night.
It's different standards, James.
We were saying, like, if we were an Arsenal fan, you'd be fuming. I mean, any other game, okay, do what you want. But a derby game, you've got to just come out in front, own it, and fans would respect you for that. But he comes out and says, I'm proud of my players. I mean, you got slapped 3-0. 3-0 and you're proud of them. I mean, honestly, do you know what? Actually, we shouldn't even be talking about their problems because the less we highlight them, the less they listen to them, and the more Arteta stays in charge, Jamesy.
I don't know, James. It'd be like if your daughter or your son, James came home from school and said, just got an F, on the paper, just didn't decide to turn it in, didn't want to do it. And James be like, you know what, no matter what, proud of that, really proud of that, you gave it an effort. Be that, it's like those sort of standards, James. It's just not, it's just certain people.
I love it. I love it. Big up, James, with the lovely badge beside your name, just like Chris as well. Good to see you. Bobby K, another one, that big badge beside his name. Just big up David, Jack, and everyone in the chat. Big win. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Bobby. Hope you and the boys really enjoyed it down in Scotland Yard. Had a nice little look at your stream today as well that you done. It was brilliant, my man. Keep up the good work. Everybody do get over and check out the Three Spurs Boy on YouTube. Dark Soul G21, big up, my man. Really appreciate the support. He says, is that Gooner going to come on like he said he would if they lost Dark Soul G? I must actually. So me and Jack were sitting in the back end last night after a watch long, just having a beer, enjoying the vibes, right? We actually went to check in on Northside LDN to see if he's okay. Your super chat popped up asking him, is he going to live up to it? Oh, we were cracking up. I was absolutely loving it. I was like, I was brilliant. So I'm glad you've done that. And he did. He texted me today. He says, look, Dave, when are we going to do this? And I said, look, I won't do it to you. It's fine. He says, no, I'm a man of my word. I'll be back. So we will organize a Dark Zone G and we will bring it to you, my man. And look, who knows? Maybe next season we might do something once a month or every couple of months with an Arsenal fan just for a bit of spice, my man. But big up Dark Zone G. And he also says, Jack, also, I think this third consecutive win is a new record, if I remember what I read. This is why they should have played us in Jan. Epic fail.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely should have played us in January, Dark Sun G. You've said this before anybody else. Probably started trending once you said a Dark Sun G, but they ran away from Winks. They ran away from Thompson Sanchez. They ran away from, I think there are a few other players that, we're going to be featuring in that game. We weren't going to have Son. A lot of people have pointed that out, which is a huge thing to point out, that we wouldn't have had Son in that fixture, Dark Sun G. So all the players they were running away from, it's a bit sad. It's a bit pathetic. And they thought they were going to have a bigger, better team for this one. And somehow, they didn't have Ben Scheidt available. Thomas Partey, decided to party somewhere else. Go party over in the surgery room. In the case of the rest of the team, Dark Sun G, I wasn't really that afraid. I think maybe if Thomas Partey been in the team, maybe it wouldn't have been 3-0, but I don't know. It's what I originally predicted. So Dark Sun G, they're just a bit naive. I can't put myself in the mind of, a scum, because Dark Sun G, I just don't know where their head was at. They should have played that fixture. They shouldn't have run. Should have just took the loss there. And maybe they'd be in a better position now. I'm not sure, Dark Sun G.
Every gunner's a runner, Dark Sun G. Just remember that, my man. And everybody, I'm going to put it up in the community section if people want to download it as their screensaver. But as you can see in our thumbnail, the picture of Emerson holding the flare. I mean, that forever go down as an iconic image. Harry Kane jumping with Sonny to celebrate forever. The amount of iconic images we got from yesterday's game, unbelievable. And, look, we did do a small bit on Emerson, but just before we came on, I was just thinking, Jack, we don't even need to bother. The guy does it himself. The guy does it himself. We don't even need to do it. He does it himself. And he's honest. He put in what we have. He's an honest guy. I love that. Stefan Blois, are you still on the highlights? Good to see you, Stefan. Good to see you. I still am. It's Friday. I'm chilling and loving life. Still enjoying the goon salty tears, pathetic fan base. Oh, we're enjoying it, my man. We're going to have a few beers after this. Big up, my brother. Big up. Aaron Dove, good to see you in the house, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Cartman Farming Simulator, I tuned in earlier on, my man. You were reversing a truck into his face and dumping whatever you were dumping. Big up, man. He runs the Farming Simulator on YouTube. So big up, guys. The man is just crying because he just realized he made a mistake signing that new contract. Big up, Carter, man. Good to see you in the building, my man. Peter Simon says, fact is, noisy grounds intimidate refs. How many times we've seen that at Old Trafford or Anfield over the years? Another good point. Another reason why we should be creating that atmosphere, my man. Big up. A great comment. Dark Sun G, again, big up, my man. Really appreciate it. He says, this is why the Gooners have so many reds under Lego head. This was their 13th, which is first place for amount of red card under the other Premier League teams' current managers. The second place is with 8. It shows. Jack, you take this. I'm just grabbing another bottle of water out of the fridge. My voice
no problem. Dark Sun G, he doesn't want to take blame for that, though. He doesn't want to look at himself, with that. Because if I believe a pundit or somebody might have brought it up that it's been the 13th red card that he's received, and he decided to bring up conspiracy theories with the referee. The other thing as well, Dark Sun, it's a bit embarrassing that he's bringing up conspiracy theories again, like we'll reiterate after all the favors that they've just been given by the referees kind of recently in the Premier League. So I don't really know what ground he's really standing on with that sort of theory. It's also kind of a bit Jose-esque or whatnot. But in the case of Jose, I kind of think he usually kind of had a point, or maybe he had some substance or some grounding in it. In the case of Arteta, he had none, and it's just kind of maybe just a way for him to deflect, the blame from himself. It's a way to deflect the blame from the players. It's just a bit naive. It's a bit childish, and it's a bit disgusting. But it's just things that we can associate with the scum Dark Sun G, and it's also things that we can associate with an airhead Lego head. I don't know, Dark Sun G. I must say, I haven't even. I've saved it. I'm trying to get a bit of ice cream, get a bit of popcorn. I've seen all the quotes from Lego Head's press conference. I've seen Conte's. I actually haven't even seen Lego Heads yet, and I know it's just going to be absolute comedy gold, Dark Sun G. But yeah, coward.
Big up, Dark Sun G. Look, he thought he could mix it with the big boys before the game. The likes of the managers. He was jealous that Jurgen Klopp had respect for Conte to call him out. He tried. He failed. He got bit slapped back to reality, and he can't take it. Big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support. Big up, Autism and Coco in the building as well. Big yourselves up. Dark Zone G says this should end Saka versus Kulu debate. Kulu showed up while Saka went MIA. Now Gunners have no centre-backs for Newcastle away, which is great for us. Go Toons. Is there any update on Gabriel? I know he did come off with a hamstring injury, but is there any update on that? Is he actually confirmed out? Let me know. I know Rob Holding's out. I mean, the only thing he'll be holding is a teddy bear crying himself to sleep. Ben White, I believe he might be back. He might be back, but
he could be back. In the case of Gabriel, it was weird because he sort of like speedily walked himself off the pitch. Like there was.
He wanted out, Jack. He wanted out. Get me out.
Like I think I said at the time it was a bit kind of Jordi Alba against Bayern Munich. Seems to just sub himself off with mysterious injury. All of a sudden that's what it felt like Gabriel was doing. I feel like Gabriel will be available. I feel like Ben White will be available, Dark Senji, and that could really help them significantly. But maybe the fact that they're not at 100% could also come to their detriment. But yeah, Kulu did show up. Saka just went missing. Like you said, in fact, when you even look at, the whole game in general, we'll point out the guy that did, in fact, have the most chances for them. And it wasn't Saka, I'll tell you that, Dark Senji. And that was the guy that they kind of rated as their big man. Their, the person that just has to get into the team. No question, has to get into the team, Dark Senji. Bit embarrassing, if you ask me.
If anyone does find Saka, though, please do let me know. I really, Arteta is getting concerned. He's driving by the Emirates with a megaphone screaming.
Didn't show up to school the next day, Dark Sun G either, Saka. So it is a bit worrisome.
Big up, Dark Sun G. If anyone loves the arrogance of Jack over the last couple of days after beating Arsenal, please put it in the comments. I love to see more of this. It's brilliant. Willie Kelly says, I love the way Conte tells Lego Man to stop moaning. He's now in his head. Can't wait for next year. Going to be a big year next year. Come on, you Spurs. I mean, look, he's already in Pep Guardiola's head. He's already, he's already got Karen Klopp where he wants him. Look, Mikel Arteta, the way I believe Conte sees Mikel Arteta, it's just like, it's just like a child or just someone that he just feels like he can just wind up whenever he wants. He doesn't he doesn't even have respect for him. He just looks at him. He's like, I'm in a bad mood today. I might wind up Mikel. That's the sort of guy I reckon that he sees Arteta as, to be honest with you. But William, like I said, when you see them come out moaning, Conte's got them right where he wants them. And this is in preparation for next season. Make no mistake about it. Difference between Arteta and Conte as well. And I tried saying it to Arsenal fans when I was on their channels. When Conte only had no Europe with Chelsea, he went and won a league. Arteta's barely scraping top four. There's levels to this game, and Arteta needs to learn that.
William Kelly, just want to ask if you saw that moment, on the watch along where Arteta, he and his, and his coaching staff, they were scrambling. They were looking under the benches, looking at their seats for something, but like maybe they forgot their tactics pad. But what they were really looking for, in fact, was actually Arteta's hair gel, and they just couldn't find it. And I think that was also the reason he crumbled.
Big up, William Kelly. I hope you and Luke enjoyed it, my man. Big yourself up. The hot Spurs in the house. Big up. Daz and Ivor is here as well. Big up, my man. Hope you're keeping well. We've also got Dribble. He's in the house. Big up to the show fans. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, my man. Big up. Good to see you in the building. On your bike, Scotty says, big up, boys. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you, my man. Tottenham Gold says, as I said, we would rise again, and we are rising. Honestly, we're like a good souffle, Dermot. Honestly. Just keep rising, my man. Look, we've 2 games to go. We've done everything we could, bar the Brighton game, up until now. My feeling is the pressure's going to get to Arteta. He's going to overthink everything going into that Newcastle game. And if they go in with no centre-backs, if I was Newcastle, just get balls into Chris Wood all game long. All game long. He'll grab a couple. He'll bully them. So, Dermot, there's definitely a way for it to be done. And I just have a sneaky feeling Newcastle might surprise us on Monday. Big up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Hope you are keeping well. Blue Eyes is in the house. Big up, big man Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, man. Good to see you. Good to see Liam in the house as well, my man. Dark Zone G, big up, brother. He says, wasn't this the first North London derby in this new stadium? So that was a factor that crumbled the Gooners. This should be start for making a loud atmosphere for games. It wasn't the first North London derby in the new stadium, Dark Sun G. It was the first one in front of a crowd, in front of a full crowd. Full
I think,
capacity.
What he meant.
Yeah, full capacity. And I'll be honest with you. I think me and Jack were speaking about this, but I thought they would crumble coming into the noise and the pressure. Young squad, inexperienced Cole Merchant at the helm. I mean, like he had to get the parents to sign permission slips to allow them to play. I mean, I kind of knew Saka would crumble, I'll be honest with you, because he missed that penalty in the Euros. When the big games are on, the pressure's there. But by Saka, everybody's looking for him. So for me, I'm not surprised. I expected it. I've said it all game long. I knew they would crumble. I knew the pressure, the atmosphere, everything else, they would absolutely capitulate underneath it. And that's exactly what they've done, Dark Sun G. Absolutely capitulated, my man. Big up, brother. Really appreciate support. Think we just grab a couple more and then we'll get going. THSC14 says, still waiting for a reply from his scum supporter, mate. It's been nearly 24 hours. I hope he's all right. Honestly, you might have to send the search party out. But I believe there is a backlog, so the police don't have enough man to be able to get out there and find everybody. So I would get down there quick. There is a backlog, my man. Big up. Luke says, we need the fans to be that loud against Burnley. You can see it gives the team an extra boost. 100%, my man. Couldn't agree more. Colin Turner, he says, I thought Højbjerg had his best game in the Spurs shirt. A clear pen, a clear sending off. What was Holding thinking of? I do not know. Probably EastEnders. I don't know. I do not know, my man. Dark Sun G says, Gameres, Wood, Joe Linton, Shar, Trippier, Wilson will have a field day against the Gooners. Weekend squad. Karma is real. The Gooners are punished. Jack, would you agree with him?
You can make a good case, Dark Sun G. Guimaraes, I believe, at one stage and for a long time, like over the past few seasons, has been kind of rumored with going over to the Scum. I think it was like somebody that they've been kind of scouting for a few seasons. Newcastle crashed the party, took him right from underneath them. And was able to, kind of settle in quite quickly, like I said he would, to be fair, in the Premier League. And I expect him, if he did have some sort of feelings toward Arsenal or something like that, and the fact that maybe they did get him any sooner, maybe he has, a bit of vengeance, or, a bit of a cold shoulder towards them, and he's going to try to put up his best game. And we've seen that Guimaraes can run a game, Dark Sun G, and he can pop up with a goal as well, which I didn't even know he had. He already was, kind of like the Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes of, player, but, he's popping up with goals as well, which is good to see. Chris the Goat Wood, as you and I both know, Dark Sun G. Joe Linton has been rejuvenated. Fabian Schär, he's capable of mistake. If anybody's going to give them the win, I think it's going to be Schär, actually, to be honest. Dark Sun G. Trippier, like you said, he's going to single-handedly try to get us in the top 4 in this game. And then Wilson coming back could be a huge boost to them, and perhaps is kind of their saving grace, because honestly, Chris the Goat Wood not doing as well recently, Dark Sun G. So yeah, love it. Karma is real, and the karma is coming soon, my man.
Big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support you're giving us. He is hopping. He is bouncing. Big up, my man. Hey, Wheeling 04, hello. We are the Tottenham boys. Absolutely love it. Hello. We are the Tottenham boys. Big up, my man. Absolutely love it. Good to see you in the building. Dean Smithers, good evening, lads. What a fucking night. Well, my man, it was an unbelievable night. It's what being a Spurs fan is all about. And look, we all support the club in different ways. We all see things differently. But what I would say to people, whatever your gripes are with the club or whatever else, put it to one side and just enjoy this North London derby victory, my man. Big yourself up. Good to see you in the building. Toxic headshot. It's a shame about Romero. It is a huge shame. Huge shame, my man. But look, Jack will tell you why Sanchez deserves to play against Burnley. I was surprised. I was very surprised, but Jack will tell you why.
Yeah.
Andrew Bailey, good to see you. Come on, you Spurs. What a night and a few beers to celebrate. Big up, my man. Side down to
Keep them coming, Andrew. Keep them filled.
Neverman's here. Good to see you. And I responded to your comment earlier. Hope you keep him well, my man. Anthony Gray is here as well. Can't wait to see Conte Cam. I know, my man.
I want to say the Arteta Cam, actually, to be honest. If they could include that as well, that'd be nice. Just side by side.
I love it. Patrick Campbell says, does it worry you guys that Conte doesn't have much time to prepare or are fully confident? I don't think Burnley would play low block. The new manager doesn't seem to defend too much. I'll be honest, I'm not worried whatsoever, Patrick. Look, Burnley at home, we usually beat them. Different proposition on home turf as well. And I do have a theory that some will be wound up. I think Conte may have done it a little bit on purpose. And you'll see some take the game to them, in my opinion. But time will tell. But I'm not nervous, my man. Stefan Bloy says Arsenal blame ref for taxes and traffic jams. They probably blamed him for the queue down in Seven Sisters after the game as well, my man, trying to get out of there. Oh, absolutely love it. Big up, Stefan. Enjoy them beers tonight, my man. Enjoy them beers, brother. Good to see you in the house. I love it. I love it. The Bolton Dude says Arsenal had a good season, but if I'd be very concerned if I was but I'd be very concerned if I was an Arsenal fan. They have zero direction for next year. You don't win anything just by recruiting youngsters, and their manager is average. Do you know what the Bolton do? Again, I had this conversation with them on the Arsenal Lounge. I tried telling them, look, the caliber of the managers, first of all, we'll start with, completely different. Conte and Arteta. Conte is a winner, a leader of men. He has the numbers of everybody in the Premier League. And in order to run a big football club nowadays, you can't go around and scream and shout like Ferguson used to do. But you have to have a big personality in terms of in the press. You have to know when to say the right things, manipulate it, drop bombs like Conte does. You know, you have to have the respect of the players. And Conte commands that. Arteta doesn't command that. And the reason why he doesn't, and the reason why I know he doesn't, where did Aubameyang end up? He couldn't wait to get him out of there because Aubameyang did not respect Arteta. And at the end of the day, that's the difference. People like Kane, Son, the reason why we'll be able to hold on to them and get more players in here is because people respect Conte. Nobody respects Arteta. Arteta is a bit like Pochettino in a way. And the reason why I say that is Pochettino came into Tottenham, cleared house, got rid of all the big characters, and got in young, hungry players who would do exactly what he said. You had to meet certain fitness and running stats during the week to even be in contention for being picked at the weekend. And you could see that in games, and it worked because we were fitter than everybody else. And we've always played on the front foot. He's gone to PSG. And when I watched them in the Champions League over the last couple of years, they're playing counter-attacking football. That's not Pochettino's style. And the reason why that happens is because there's big personalities there. They don't respect him, in my opinion. And he can't bring in what he had in at Tottenham because they just laugh him out of there because they run that dressing room. And it's a bit like that with Arteta, and that's the route he's going down. He's trying to do what Poch's done. But it's not.
But is he even? But then I completely agree, Dave. You took exactly what I was going to say right there. The only thing I would then add to that, but beautifully said, Dave, because you took exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry.
But in the case of Pochettino versus Arteta, though, is Arteta like as tactically, like genius or like as inventive or as creative or whatever you might say as like Pochettino? Probably not. And then the other thing I just wanted to add quickly is when Pochettino is doing well, you've said this 1,000 times, Dave, he kind of took advantage of, the rest of the Premier League giants sort of repairing themselves. Arteta doesn't have that sort of privilege. And so not only is he worse than Pochettino when Pochettino was learning, and kind of learning the ropes, he's also coming into a harder situation in the Premier League. So,
yeah. No, exactly. And then even if in terms of coming, like, players, like if we do miss out on Champions League, look, although Arsenal may have the Champions League factor, we've got the Conte factor, and that would say more to players. They look at the two clubs. Who do I see winning? Who do I see myself winning trophies under? Arteta or Conte? Players that want to win will come to Tottenham. Players that want the money will end up at Arsenal. And that's the way I see it going in the future, to be honest with you. Because Arsenal will put themselves in a situation where we were. To try and lure some of these big boys, they'll put all the money, throw extra money at them, and they're looking like, how did this guy end up here? And with players that are motivated by money, you don't want that at your club. But big up the Bolton Dude. I really appreciate the support, my man. And Jay, I knew you weren't, my man. We had that discussion and we were right, my man. Big yourself up. Big up Jason Fox. Good to see you. Big up Elias. Good to see you in the house as well, my man. So many people in today. We're struggling to keep up. Give me a few minutes. Bear with us. We will get into the tactical breakdown. We're so far behind. I like everyone to have their say. I just need to find where we are at with the super chats as well. It's 164 Spur in the house. Good to see you in the house, my man. Hope you're keeping well. Same as Brian Hope. Good to see you in the building as well. Tyler Redalock. It's still in Arsenal's hands. But look, I think they'll slip up, my man. Good to see you in the building. Same as you, Mark New. Big yourself up, lad. Good to see you. Great tweet last night. Good to see you in the house, my man. Big yourself up. The bottom do also says, I'm not looking at yesterday's win as a step closer to the Champions League. Arsenal may still qualify, but I can see an identity when Spurs play a decent summer, and I think we can win something next year. I mean, Jack, do you think maybe we're getting overhyped after North London Derby win? Or do you think I believe we can.
No, I think the bottom dude is sort of bringing us down to earth, but reading into, what that game meant. And I agree with him here, where Arsenal could still qualify for Champions League, but you could then look after that game and you're kind of like, doesn't really even Arsenal get Champions League to bottom dude? I think you and I both know that it's not really like you would really be that intimidated of them next year. Like, you probably would expect us to finish quite further ahead of them, and probably for them to in fact struggle to handle maybe the quality of the Champions League, as well as probably what the quality of the Premier League will be next season. And you could see them capitulate maybe in one of those leagues or competitions or something, kind of in an embarrassing fashion. So to bottom Duda, if you ask me, I think what that kind of fixture told us was a lot about where Conte will be next season and, kind of where Arteta will be next season. And Arteta's done a decent job, sort of, but he's also shown that he can be easily outclassed by the likes of, maybe the better managers. And he's been there a while. Like, I think people also haven't spoken about that enough. He's been here a while. He's had the chance to learn. It's kind of like Ole or, Shoeshiner, where he's been there a while. He's had the chance to, kind of learn the ropes of the Premier League and, maybe prove something. And I think Arteta's proven who he is, and I just don't think it's good enough to bottom Duda. So I would be worried about them next season, and I'm not intimidated by them. And I even said in the pre-match build-up, just lastly and quickly, that this fixture has a lot of implications with how, you could expect the future to look, and it looks like the future could be bright for Spurs, regardless of regardless of whether we finish in the Champions League or not.
Jack, the future could be white. That's what you should have said, lad. You should have said the future would be white, lad. I'll set you up for the slam dunk next time, my man. But look, that's or the bottom two. I'm going to keep saying this. Look, for me, I look at it this season, okay? With what we have, Conte's got Klopp's number and he's got Guardiola's number. We've also got West Ham's number, right? Which is important, all London teams' numbers. But and it's with what we have, which is the bare bones. Now, if anybody has a chance of winning something next season, bar Chelsea maybe, it's Tottenham. And the reason why I say that is because even if we want to win a League Cup or an FA Cup or make a challenge at the league title, it's inevitable that we've seen over the last few years, we will come up against one of these teams at some stage. And if anybody has proven to the board that they deserve the backing to get in the players they want so that we can start doing this on a regular basis, it's Conte, because he's already gotten their number this season with the bare bones. And that's what gives me a bit of belief going into next season that, okay, if we draw Liverpool or City in the Cup, it's not the worst thing in the world. We've done them. We know how to get results off them. And that's why I believe we can win something. I think with the right transfer window, I think the likes of the Southampton game, the Wolves game, the Brighton game that happened this year, even Brentford, that doesn't happen in my opinion. So I think next year will be a very good season to bottom do it. Big up, my man. Good to see you in the building. We're making our way nicely through this chat. We are getting there. Big up the bottom do. We're actually near the bottom. I'm surprised how quick we caught up. Big up, my man. Got Carl Knight in the house. Carl, where have you been?
Hey, Carl. Good to see you.
Where have you been? We've sent out a search party. It's good to see you in. He says, hi to the flat cap Harris Army. Love Conte's passion for Spurs. It shines through and he's turned Spurs into a strong top 5 team. Conte is a winner and so are David and Jack. Come on, Spurs. I love that ending. I love that ending, Karen Knight. Look, I would like to think I'm a winner. The first thing I started talking about when I first came here,
believing in winning.
3 players we had that needed to be replaced. Top 4 wasn't a trophy. I had to remind people top 4 wasn't a trophy. I want proper trophies. Now, look, people are going to say to me, but you want top 4 this season? Yes, because it's all we've got to play for. I want the very best outcome. But next season, I'm firmly focused on trophies. And so is Conte. Conte's not here to build a 5-year plan. Conte wants immediate success. That's what he gets everywhere else he goes, and that's what he demands at Tottenham Hotspur. Look, we're all winners. I'd like to think we're all winners. I'd like to think that nobody out there thinks top 4 is a trophy anymore and that everyone actually wants lift physical trophies, but not to get as desperate as Arsenal fans. I mean, I like Northside. He's a good guy, but he had to buy his own trophies. I mean, I don't want to be that hungry for trophies. I don't want to be that desperate. I'm getting there, but I don't want to have to do it, is what I'm saying. But Jack, you alluded to Conte's passion. After every goal when we were rewatching the game today, you just couldn't help but talk about Conte's passion. You notice it. You love it.
I mean, Carl, it just shows how invested he is probably, in the team with how, he celebrates. He invests, or he's celebrating, more passionately and more angrily or more intensely than, most Spurs fans, if I'm going to be honest, the way that he does it shows how much he invests in, what he's doing as a job, shows how much he's investing in the players, shows how much, he really gets out of winning. And to be honest, Carl, that's the type of manager I want to have at this football club. But as well, Carl, I think you way too kind to call us the Conte categories of winner. But I must say must say, Carl, it's the believing in winning, and that's something that you can always associate with this channel. Yes. This channel believes that we can always win, even when it looks like there's no possibility. We always find a way to believe in winning. We always, give the opposition respect, like we do at Stats with Jack and everything, show how the opposition can hurt us and things like that. But we always find a way and to believe that Spurs can win. And that's what you can associate with this channel. And maybe that's what you can associate with a winning mentality, Carl. Big up, my man.
Look, Jack put it absolutely perfectly, probably better than I did, to be honest with you. But everything we do here or everything we speak about is to try and plot a way or see if we can win. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, my man. Big up, Carl Knight. I really do appreciate the support, brother. I do think we've caught up on the chat, and I'd be honest, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I don't think we missed anybody either. So I think everybody got a good welcome in. We've got back Conte. Island Life is in the building. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Tottenham on tour is in the house. Big up. Still buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. I don't know whether this is Adam, Danny, or one of the Bryans, but it doesn't matter. We love Tottenham on tour, and I bet you're still buzzing. Big up. Spurs squad in the house as well. Toffee 20, CCH. Harry's here. Good man, Harry. You need to get that Manscaped trimmer, my man, and change the name. Just change the name to Manscaped. Big up, brother. We've also got the Spurs fan. Good to see you in the building. And we've got 24C and Spaghetti Slayer. Now, we haven't missed anybody. Now, we can begin. Everybody, please smash that like button. Please smash that subscribe button. Both massively help this channel. Feel free to get your super chats in with your thoughts, opinions, whether you agree with what we're about to bring up, disagree, do let us know. It's a great way to support the channel. And everybody, like Sebas Wolf, just coming in there, get that channel membership, guys. Look, basically what that does, 6,000 people, if everyone grab that membership, it gives us that security every season, to keep doing what we're doing and keep putting out what we're putting out, keep paying for what we're paying for, and just get better. We get better stuff to produce even better stuff. It really does help. So big up, everybody. The link is there if anybody does want to. And Dark Sun G sneaking in here, and then we will crack on with it. Says, thank you, Man United, for giving us Conte. Exactly. The sacking race was on, and we pulled the trigger quicker. Tottenham and Tour in the house. I don't know whether you want to praise Levy for it. I don't know. But look, I'm only winding you up. Anyway, I'm just in a good mood. I'm winding everybody up. Thank you, Vlahovic, for going to Juventus, which gave us the perfect combination for the future and right away in Kulu. I mean, Jack, the guy's just speaking lyricals, waxing lyricals.
It's kind of been a lot of favors, handed around, football this year, Dark Sun G. Like you said, Shoeshiner gave us a favor, and Man United gave us a favor in giving us Conte. In the case of Juventus, you could say Paratici kind of did them a favor as well as them doing us a favor. In the case of Man City, we basically handed them the title. In the case of Liverpool, we made them believe that they could get the title. In the case of the Premier League, we made them, actually find the Premier League interesting, which, to be honest, I think the Premier League is so easy to predict every season, but we made it, enticing for them, made, it just a bit better for the last final weeks, help get their paychecks through. So Dark Sun G, it's just been a season of favors, and it feels like Tottenham's had, a big hand in it all.
Yeah, big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support, my man. Look, United giving us a massive help in Al-Alam. Big yourself up. And the Hotspur has answered the call. Absolutely love it. Look, we're trying to create a bit of a cult over here where everyone that's in the chat has that lovely badge beside their name. Now, look, guys, big up the Hotspur. Big up to you guys. My first and only membership to any channel. You're the best. Come on, you Spurs,
Legend.
man. That's what we're talking about. I live off that sort of stuff. I love it. And look, I make no things about it. We try to be the best. Whether we are or not, I'm not sure. But we do try, and I really do appreciate that. I mean, all you can ask for is people that try their hardest, and we really do. And look, Hotspur, who knows? But maybe you can make your first appearance on the channel as well, and we'll see you on the pod Tuesday. That would be nice.
The Hotspur, really do appreciate it. Like David said, really appreciate responding to the call. It's just a great way, to support, all the different types of content that we put out there. I think we're going practically daily these days. So if you guys, if you feel like supporting the channel, if you feel like, you enjoy all the different content we put out there and you want to find another way to support us, the channel membership is a great way to do it. But really appreciate it, the Hotspur. And also, before we get started, just because we have to, address it because it's way too generous. And Brian C., I'm not sure if David's uploaded the fan cam, but I did catch the fan cam as well, Brian C. I'm loving it, my man. And he said, we were waiting for this one, lads. Revenge. Is it another one, actually, just quickly? Brian C. and King Hoddle, Dave, they need to get, be the Irish Hotspur writers, publish, Irish Hotspur, kind of page-long blogs and whatnot. Honestly, Brian C., get in contact. He says, we were waiting for this one, lads. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and we served them up beating all the way back to South London. Absolutely buzzing. Momentum will see us home. Great stuff from you, lads. Come on, you Spurs, always. Big up, Brian C., and really appreciate it. Way too generous, Brian C. Even just sending in the fan cams, my man, is enough because it helps us, just put up, a bit of extra content and whatnot. And honestly, I love seeing what you guys have to say as well. But Brian C., I've said this before, sent them back to South London. I love that title as well. The vengeance needs to be served cold. It's served on ice, Brian, and that's what it was, my man. It's almost like a ceviche or, like a sushi. It's served best cold, my man. Big up, Brian C. Really appreciate you, brother. From the beginning, you've really supported this channel. Big up, my man.
Yeah, lad. Look, I really appreciate the support, my man. First of all, your fan cam was absolutely excellent. And look, I want you to do more. You know that. And everybody in the chat, you want to see more Brian C. Socrates fan cams, put the pressure on him because, look, the guy, he just calms everybody down. He's one of them people that, people just like listening to. He comes up with good points. And he was loving the Sonny goal, by the way, with the fan cam, and he caught it. The way he finished it, and everything else. The guy's clued in. He's very clued in. And look, at the end of the day, Brian, I'm sure you enjoyed the images of the away section being empty after 85 minutes. In fact, I would have loved if there was local Tottenham news cameras down at Seven Sisters. You would have seen it absolutely rammed from bottom to top, full of Arsenal fans, climbing over each other to get out of there. We sent them back to South London where they belong. If you go onto their Wikipedia page now, it says now residing in South London. My man, that's their new residency. They couldn't afford the tax we put on them last night. In fact, they couldn't pay us the tax, so we gave them an absolute spanking. That's what I'm talking about, my man. I'm sick of the disrespect them fuckers give us. At the end of the day, they were crawling around South London looking for a home. Nobody wanted them there. So they came up north, and we said, you know what? We don't like leaving people homeless. You can have a home. Can we have a football club? Look, we don't like it. You can have a football club. So they wouldn't even have a football club if we didn't let them enter North London, is what I'm trying to say. So I want to see more respect for them Gooner fans around here. The first thing they should be saying before they even open their mouth about Tottenham fans, hate us? I don't mind. Hate us all you want. The first thing they should be saying is, first of all, I want to say thank you to Tottenham for allowing us to have a football club. And then you can call us every name under the sun you want after that. That's the first thing they should be doing when they even open their mouths. And look, Brian, like you like to say, win or learn. Well, today they're bloody learning, my man. Pick yourself up, brother.
Big up, Brian. And also, Brian, just quickly, really appreciate all the support as well you give to the second channel, Dave. I can't even believe the guy has the time, to check out, my videos as well. So, Brian C., really appreciate you. David and I, honestly, we're so thankful for you, brother. Really appreciate you, my man.
Big up, Socrates. Top guy. Really appreciate the size of the donation as well. You have no idea how that helps out, brother. Really appreciate it, my man.
Elias Christian and similar, saying my first YouTube channel membership only for Spurs and only to hear David singing Arsenal get battered Everywhere they
Everywhere they
go.
go, Arsenal get battered. Everywhere they go, everywhere they go. Elias, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, my man. Big yourself up, brother.
Really appreciate that, Elias, and everybody really appreciate grabbing the memberships. It really is a great way to support the channel. But let's get started. People are impatient, but honestly, just the chats are blowing up. And honestly, as well, so many people want to get their thoughts in. So many donations that have been extremely generous as well. So many people bringing up really good talking points as well. You guys are just feeding us the talking points too. But really, Jack, honestly, all of you, from the bottom dude to Dark Sun G to Carl Knight to Dermot, to so many others.
Stefan
really
Blois,
do appreciate all
Elias,
the really
everybody.
Yeah, really appreciate all the support. And then Brian C, of course, with the massive one as well. Appreciate you and love you all.
Absolute all legends. And look, I'm here for as long as anybody wants to go. So get it out throughout the course of this show. 141 watching right now, probably record numbers for a tactical breakdown. All I ask is of everybody that is watching right now, please just give us the tactical breakdown, and then at the end, let me know if it's for you. If it's not for you, please do that. Let us know. But look, Jack, let's start cracking through it. People are here and getting impatient.
In terms of just the basic match stats, we'll go right through it. Total shots, Spurs clearly had a lot more, with Arsenal only having 8. Possession, ours was, a lot more, but that's not a surprise. They played almost 2/3 of the game with 10 men on the pitch. Big chances created, 5 big chances, and that is plenty. SofaScore does not really count very much as a big chance. It really needs to be certainly a big chance to, count in their books. So the fact that we had 5 of them, absolutely massive. More passes completed, but not nearly as many more as you probably would expect. 8 fouls actually committed by Spurs, were 15 committed by the Scum, which isn't really a surprise, to be fair. I mean, I don't know. I felt like, Dave, they were showing up for rugby. They were showing up for the WWE. I think they forgot it was a football match that they were supposed to be playing. These are the 2 lineups coming up against them. We went for that 3-4-3 that we're obviously quite comfortable with. They went with a version of, their 4-2-3-1, but Tomiyasu is playing as the left back, Cedric as the right back. They clearly didn't trust Tavares in this one, which definitely says something about that signing. Whereas in the case of Cedric and Tomiyasu, it was a bit weird that Tomiyasu started out left because he's more a defensive fullback anyway. So you would perhaps want to put him on the same side that Sonny would be on. What are your thoughts on that, Dave, in the case of the formations? Like, I don't know, anything in the case of Tomiyasu, probably should have started on the right, if you ask me.
He probably should have started on the right, but look, Jack, Tavares is absolutely woeful defensively, and that's why they made that change, is because they were scared of our attack. Putting Tomiyasu out on the right, and look, I think they were also looking for Tomiyasu to overlap Martinelli, to give that Martinelli that space, but it just never happened, Jack. Just never happened, and look, I'll give credit to Arsenal. I mean, even if you're looking at the stats, I know they came at us for the first 15 minutes. They tried to press us. They tried to press Sanchez. They tried to press Davies. They got tight with Højbjerg and Bentancur, and they got joy for the first 15 minutes. But we showed that we were streetwise, and we were able to play through that. Now, look, obviously the possession is purely because they were playing, I think, after half an hour with they were playing for an hour with 10 men. So that was always going to happen. But we were streetwise with how we handled that game. And look, I could get why they moved Tomiyasu over to the left, but it just did not work.
Yeah, I don't think it worked. And in the case of, the midfield, Xhaka and Elneny, that was going to be the holding midfield, but Xhaka basically had moved to left back at one stage, which is maybe a good way to move on to these later stats. But where did each team attack from? In the case of Spurs, majority of our attacks actually went down our right-hand side. That's actually kind of true with us. It's something that's, been pretty consistent this season, that the majority of our attacks go down the right-hand side, if anything. And then in the case of Arsenal, kind of evenly split, between the 2 wings. They kind of went down the right-hand side as much as they went down the left-hand side. But I don't know, Dave, anything to draw from this? This is actually quite typical Spurs in the case of us, preferring the right-hand side. That's been, consistent with us this season.
What I will say, as much as Arsenal tried to go down the left-hand side with Xhaka or with Saka, they got no joy, Jack. In fact, the only joy they were sort of getting was maybe coming down the right-hand side a little bit. But it doesn't matter. Look, they were never going to come through the middle because their players were not good enough with Shaq and Anthony. They're not good enough. Where for Tottenham, look, it's kind of what I thought coming out of the game, that our right hand side we did produce more coming down the right hand side with Emerson, with Kulu down there. The amount of overlapping runs that Emerson was doing. Emerson had a couple, 3 or 4 chances himself, So it's what we've come to expect. Our right hand side is our most fruitful 9 times out of 10. But what I will say is the left hand side does chip in. But we've seen it from Conte. The right hand side is favoured. We look at and I think it's to do with passing ability on the ball. To be honest with you, Jack, from the right-sided centre-back. Look, Romero, he's better at passing out from the back than Dyer or Davies. He's better out running out from the back with the ball down the right-hand side. Sanchez stepped in last night and just continued on, which you will explain in a while, just continued that on. So, I mean, it's something we've seen under Conte with the right-hand side. We do use that an awful lot to try and build up and get out.
Yeah, really well said there, Dave. Moving on to the average positions. In the case of Arsenal, clearly their average position is going to be all over the place because with that red card, it really affected, where those guys, would be actually positioning themselves. In the case of Spurs, maybe we'll go over that first. Quite similar, to what we've actually usually done. In the case of Sessegnon, love to see that he's actually so much higher up this game than he normally is. He's usually kind of sitting closer to the halfway line. And it's actually similar for Emerson as well. Again, probably having to do with the 10 men on the field. They had a much easier time, being able to position themselves much higher up the pitch. But it is good to see that they weren't afraid to get further up. Højbjerg and Bentancur, as always, right on top of each other. Sanchez and Ben Davies kind of having similar positions to where they normally would, actually, to be fair, regardless of 10 men on the pitch. In the case of Son and Kane, Son actually normally a bit more. It's a bit right, Dave. He took it away from me. I was going to say, normally it's switch. Son is usually a bit higher up than Kane, and Son is actually a bit more central usual than that. Normally, he's actually not actually, even though he is sort of central, he's actually even more central in most games when you look at his average position. But that has to do with the fact that Sonny was dropping a lot deeper than what he's normally doing. And it maybe had to do with a certain tactic where Conte actually, and we'll talk about it plenty later, but Conte actually tricked, I believe, everybody. He tricked the Lego man into thinking that Harry Kane would be the one dropping deep to receive the ball. But in fact, it was Sonny. In the case of Arsenal, you look at kind of their heat map. Tomiyasu, I guess, must have dropped into, the back 3 or whatever they must have formed when the red card occurred. Xhaka moved into kind of a left back position after the red card, which is not a big surprise as well, because he has been actually weirdly playing left back for them on a lot of occasions. And Ketia, not surprising, just playing right through the middle. Saka drifting further inside, which maybe when they got the red card, he could have been playing as like a second striker. Again, I'm going to have to rewatch the game in order to kind of, confirm that. Cedric playing a bit higher up makes sense. More of an attacking fullback than the rest of it. Martinelli, I mean, guess maybe did more than the rest of the team, but it was kind of, pretty much left alone out wide. In the case of El-Neni, just sitting right in front of that back line. And then Odegaard right behind Saka, playing a bit further forward.
Nothing I can even add to that, Jack, so we'll keep going on. I mean, I think you pretty much covered all bases.
Oh, there we are. Then let's get into the super chat then from before we move into the big still images that everybody loves. Neverman is here saying a strong Tottenham Hotspur is good for the Premier League. I hope that the respect is shown by the top teams, that the respect shown by the top teams will continue. I love banter, but never hate. I support Liverpool, but I can really see how Spurs are improving. Believe me, Neverman. I mean, in the case of Liverpool, I think most clubs actually really respect Liverpool because they all kind of look at, Liverpool as kind of like, why don't we do basically more of what they're doing? In the case of scouting, recruitment, transfers, even coaches, to be fair, even fans, in the fan culture. I mean, there are a lot of things that people kind of model or even kind of admire about Liverpool, as much as there might be, a bit of disdain, on the side. But Neverman, I think, especially on this channel, always respect at the end of the day, especially in the case of Arsenal, Dave. I think our banter is a bit classier and a bit, more humorous than others.
Yeah, look, for me, it's always about banter. Look, when it comes to Arsenal and Chelsea, I'll be honest. Look, it's a bit hard to respect them. I'm just being honest. I mean, I could sit here and lie. I find it hard to respect Chelsea and Arsenal fans. I really do. The rest of the Premier League, I respect, sort of, but I love bantering them every single week. No matter who we play, you'll see me. I'll give them banter every single week. But I do respect them. And look, the reason why I get fed up with Liverpool is because all my friends are Liverpool fans, and they just give me abuse because they're winning everything, right? And I love it. But I got to say, I do respect how you've operated and how you've got where you have compared to how Man City have done it, how you've grown it with picking up players, the best players from the lower clubs in the Premier League, likes of Sadio Mane, Van Dijk from Southampton. There's a lot more there. Robertson from Hull, Joe Gomez from Charlton, Milner when he was finished at City had the experience. So I've got to give you that, to be fair, never man. I've got to give you that. And look, respect. Yeah, it is respect at the end of the day. I do respect everybody. I can't do it for Arsenal and Chelsea. Please forgive me. I hope you forgive me. I just can't. I'm sorry.
Can't find a way, never, man. You just can't find a way. Big up, though, brother. Really appreciate that. Big up. I love the comments that he's been putting in response as well. Big up.
Thank you.
He says we can all hate Arsenal. Big up, never, man. Really appreciate the generous donation. But everybody, let's just break down this whole game, and we're going to move into the penalty and kind of all the controversy surrounding that. We'll probably give our thoughts, on why it's kind of ridiculous to even think that this was a penalty. But let's just kind of start from the beginning here. It starts with Emerson a bit out wide in this situation, Dave, and he wants to play the ball to Kulusevski. I think what Emerson does actually quite cleverly here is, makes kind of a half-hearted sort of run, in behind. But it does take Tomiyasu out of the equation here, which makes this cross for Kulusevski a whole lot easier when you kind of look at it. So when Emerson makes that run after passing it, opens it up for Kulusevski to take it past Martinelli. You can see Sonny and Harry Kane there kind of at the, middle of your screen where they're kind of available. And the ball eventually gets in. Yeah, sorry, Dave.
Just interesting, just quickly before you move on, just keep note of Gabriel on Kane, holding on Son, and Cedric on Session, because when Jack goes to the next image, you'll see it. Gabriel lost Kane, which means holding has to come across, which then the inevitable happens.
When the ball actually gets played in, what eventually happens is Cedric abandons his man Sessegnon, and then what actually happens is by Cedric then shoving Son, Holding knows that, he's actually had the ball played over his head. Holding is also barreling into Son at the same time. Both players are kind of coming into each other like that. Both Arsenal players, they basically just sandwich Son in a bit of scum, sort of scum sandwich, and I hope Son, had, the showers, after be able to, sanitize himself, like we said. But as you can even see here, Cedric pushes Sonny into Holding. If Holding didn't collide into Sonny after the push, then it probably would not have been a penalty in my eyes, Dave. If I really had a very level-headed look at this, if maybe Holding hadn't been also barreling into Son at also kind of an intense sort of speed, I feel like that wouldn't have made Son go down, or at least that wouldn't have made it as sellable of a penalty. Yeah. But the fact that Cedric pushes him and then Holding knocks into him after, it's like, being knocked one way, then being knocked the other. It's like it's like whitewater rafting or something, for Sonny. That's what he's going through there. And so I think that's what, the referee, there's just only one decision you can make when you're being kind of knocked from both sides like that, from two different players. It's going to be a penalty.
Look, Jack, Cedric knows what he's doing. He's trying to be clever. He's trying to leave a little nudge on Son because he knows he's going to win the header and try to put him off. But unfortunately, what doesn't help him is, and if we're being honest about it, Son has eyes for the ball. The free header is dropping down to Son, and that's because if people go back and watch the goal, Gabriel loses Kane. Holding comes across to Kane, which leaves Sonny free. Cedric panics. He comes in, tries to put Sonny off. Cedric isn't even looking at the ball. He's not even looking at the ball. Now, I say to people, if that's a long ball by, any other team in the Premier League up to their striker and the centre-back's not looking at the ball and just gives them a shove in the back, it's a free kick. So if it's a free kick outside the box when that happens, How is it not a penalty inside the box? He doesn't even have eyes on the ball. Sonny is the only one looking at the ball. And when you play it, he clearly gives him a nudge with his arm. Okay, Son may go down softly, but if you don't go down, you don't get the penalty. And at the end of the day, if Son tries to stay and be honest, people were saying, well, he's got to push. Why has he not gone down there? At the end of the day, for me, Cedric's trying to be clever. It is enough for Son to go down. I mean, I had this conversation with you earlier on, Jack. Why would Son want to dive when he's chasing Mo Salah for the Golden Boot? Why would he want to give up an opportunity to dive in hopes that he's going to get a penalty? He's not going to do it. He's chasing a Golden Boot. Son is as honest as they come. So the fact that Cedric pushed him, took away that chance, and he ended up going down, it's a penalty all day long. He's not even looking at the ball. Penalty all day long.
So we've already established that it's a penalty all day long, but the fact that it's being now made, such a fuss by Arsenal fans is, I think, then the really weird part about this is because we saw a very, very similar thing being given to Arsenal in the case of Man United, and we saw Alex Telles barge into Saka. Saka, though, in my opinion, Dave, didn't actually get sandwiched like, Sonny did. So Saka actually, you could make the argument, went either down just as easy as Sonny or went down easier than even Sonny did. And the referee was very quick to still give the penalty. But it feels like Arsenal were very blind to that. And also, again, Saka, in the case of him, found himself also in Azpilicueta dragging himself down, using Azpilicueta's body to drag himself down to the floor, and somehow was awarded a penalty. So for Arsenal to be considering this as dodgy refereeing, or to consider Sonny going down easy, or even like I've heard things like people who were even trying to be respectful, Dave, that were Scum fans, they were saying, oh, like Sonny's he's a sneaky one, kind of thing. It's like, there's nothing sneaky about it. Like, he just gets barged in the back and then just gets hit in front of his face as well. Like, what would you do? Like, you get hit in the back, Dave, and then you get smacked in the front. Like, what else is he going to do there?
Jack,
and they're thinking like, I don't know, Dave. It's like being punched in the back and then being punched in the face. It's like, what else is going to happen to him? He's going to respond in that sort of way. And I don't know, Dave, it's a bit shocking considering the penalties they've been awarded recently.
It is. It's been a joke, Jack. But when you're in the air as well, any little contact is going to put you off. You've nothing that you're standing on that's stabilizing you. You're just like a paper bag in the wind. When you're in the air and someone comes into the back here, every little thing is going to put you off. And I mean, Cedric knows that. So I mean, Jack, it's not even a debate. Like I already said, why would Son go down when he's going for a Golden Boot and try and get a penalty when he would rather take the chance? Does not make sense.
Moving on, Harry Kane takes the penalty. Ramsdale, he's already gone the other direction before Harry Kane even takes it. He already has him rattled. Moving on, Harry Kane, actually, just after Harry Kane buries it during the celebrations, something that David and I have noticed of Højbjerg, and maybe if you haven't seen this either, if you're not like a big Højbjerg stan or a big Højbjerg lover like some of us, Højbjerg, Dave, after every single time we go 1-0 up, he celebrates, but he seems to always pick somebody out in the squad to have, kind of a tactical conversation with, to tell them to stay switched on, something that he's noticing that they need to do better, or even that, the squad needs to do better. They point out areas that they need to address. Højbjerg, he doesn't just sit there and just celebrate, maybe, with the fans and everything. In fact, he always, picks out players, to, point out what they need to be doing better after the first goal. It's something I've noticed him always do, Dave, and I've seen him do it from the beginning of this season.
No, look, and it's exactly what that's someone that shows leadership responsibility. He's kind of having a little chat with Kulu, probably saying, look, great ball in to win that penalty. We want to see more. But at the end of the day, you love to see this. Look, he hasn't got caught up in the celebrations. He clearly has something on his mind that is bothering him, and he's letting Kulu know. And it's what you want, because I mean, it's very easy to just get caught away with emotions 1-0 up and mistakes happen. Højbjerg's not willing to let that happen. Like you said, Jack, we've noticed this is going on the last while, and that's what we need in the team sometimes, some leadership, someone with a cool head in the most excitable moments.
We decided to just get this one, Dave. Just, look at that, it's Harry Kane that scores the goal. It's Sonny that wins the penalty. Sonny, though, despite, doing kind of that unselfish, kind of bit of work, you might say, just shows almost more passion than even Harry Kane does, for scoring the goal there. So it just shows that David, he's not bothered at all by Harry Kane, taking the penalty. I think what it shows clearly there, and he's always been a team player, and it's never been questioned.
No, that's what I love about. I mean, look, he could have had a bit in him. Look, I want that penalty. I'm going for the golden boot here, but look at the elation on his face for Harry Kane put one in the back of the net. And I love that from Sonny, because there's a lot of players, that are going for golden boot that would not be happy about that, Be throwing the toys out the pram. Why wouldn't let me take on that? And I just love that from Sonny. I think we definitely had to highlight that. But I also just want to say, I mean, look at Harry Kane's hair. You can see the wind has caught that, Jack. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful. And the old lad probably explains the penalty thing so much better than me, but he says, if Son's feet are planted on the ground, it's no penalty. He was midair, so any touch and it's a penalty. He was assaulted, for God's sake. Well, for fuck's sake. Gooner's whinging as usual. Big up the outlet, 100%. I love that. Absolutely love that. They just can't help themselves now. Just can't help themselves. Now, guys, we are going to move on to Rob Holding's collection of cards. Now, I don't know.
Not a bad time to talk about the assault.
Huh?
Not a bad time to talk about the assault that the outlad was talking about, Dave.
No, not at all. I don't know whether Rob Holding thought he was playing Texas Hold'em with the cards or not. I'm not sure, Jack. But at the end of the day, he accumulated enough to say goodbye. So
not Pokemon, Rob. You can't collect them all there. You can only collect 2 of them, and you're off the pitch there, Rob. But the first kind of one where, and Dave, not all these led to a card. We're just kind of pointing out the different ones where Rob Holding was committing assault on our guy Sonny, and in fact, I think he committed, Dave, something like 4 or 5 fouls in the space of time that he was on the pitch, which is just like, I don't know what he thought he was going to get away with, with committing 4 or 5 fouls in like 30 minutes. But Højbjerg, Dave, starts off here. You can actually see, and we saw this on countless occasions, where this ball was often played from this area. Normally it was played from Ben Davies quickly, but it was, in this case, played by Højbjerg. But instead of Harry Kane dropping deep, like we said before this game, it was actually Sonny dropping deep more often than not. And that pass into Sonny dropping deep was always coming from the left-hand side and quite wide on the left-hand side a lot of times. And normally it was coming from Ben Davies. In the case this time, it comes from Højbjerg. But I think people know what I mean by that pass, that normally came from Ben Davies. Højbjerg plays it into Sonny. You can see he's already, getting pulled and dragged here. He's picked up the ball here. He actually, Dave, impressively shows actually Rob Holding the weight room as well, Sonny, a lot of cases in this game, which is a bit surprising because normally Sonny isn't really known for his hold-up play or even known for his strength in holding up the ball. But I actually thought he was kind of, shown Mr. Holding the weight room in a few occasions.
Yeah, no, we were talking about this earlier. Look, Son's hold-up play sometimes, like, I thought that was probably the only weakness the guy had, but he proved against Arsenal that, he can hold players off. And look, Jack, he done the same move with inside. We'll have the time when the referee card dishes out his card anyway. But, so we done the same move for the first half an hour. Like you said, Jack, perfectly. They thought we would look to get Harry Kane to be the assister. No. We got Sonny to be the one where we were hitting today, to be the target man. And every time, Jack, he got the ball, spun Holding. But what he done, and we need to talk about why Holding was fouling him. And the reason why Holding was fouling him is because Arteta had said to Holding before the game, watch Son. He may start out here on the formation sheet, but he moves in central. You're in charge of Son today. Where he runs, you run. Oh, so Holding followed them instructions. Now, the reason why Holding has to fold him is because the soon as Son turns him, which is what he done every time, just spun him. That centre-back position is wide open. It's a gaping hole with Kane galloping forward. You're going to see him in more clips, especially on bombing forward. So it's either let us go away and get a shot on goal, which is more than likely going to be the outcome, or take him down. And he came out too far. Son dragged Holding out of position every single time. And once he'd done that, he brought Holding into territory where there was so much space for Son to spin him. And he's not used to it. And that's why the fouls were occurring. So any Arsenal fan to say that he shouldn't have got the cards or got sent off is absolutely bullcrap. Just praise Sonny for being much cleverer than him, bringing him out of position all day long, bringing him into midfield, which is where he does not want to be. Son knew that. Son spinned him. He brings him down and stops clinical counterattacks. What's the problem?
Yeah, well said, Dave. Another occasion out wide, this time with Sessegnon. Sonny again dropping deep here, on the left-hand side. Spins him just like David was talking about, commits another card. And then, Dave, this is already 25 minutes in 36 seconds. And Paul Tierney's already told him 3 times, this is your card. 3 fouls that I've already, had to call you on. And Rob Holding, this apparently wasn't good enough for him. This wasn't enough of a warning or enough of a lesson here.
No, look, 25 minutes in, it just goes to show what we're talking about. Son had an absolute masterclass against Holden. 25 minutes in, for me, he should have been booked after the second one, to be honest with you, Jack. Don't know why the referee gave him a third. It's not usually the case. But if we just go back to the picture before that, this is why Rob Holding had to foul him. Look at the space. Sessegnon bombing into it. Kane already in the middle waiting for the ball across. He has no option but to commit these fouls because Son has turned him and brought him into positions he doesn't want in the space. That's a prime example of what I'm talking about. Because we break, they're caught out, don't have the numbers, we'll get a shot from goal. And that's why Holding has to keep fouling them. And that's why you see on the next one, the referee said, look, I can see what's going on. That's number 3. I've got to give you a yellow.
And then we move on to the one that actually leads to the red card here. This is the 32nd minute. It starts with a moon boots kind of deep line kind of ball, a bit of a long ball into the likes of Sonny over the top. It actually was going nowhere to Sonny, but, Rob Holding yet again could not, find it within himself. Yeah, could not find it within himself to cool down and, maybe just let Sonny pass here. Again, just to reiterate, starts from a moon boots long ball. Moon boots plays it. As we know, elbow straight to the face, as we saw. A very funny thing that we did notice was Gabriel, after making a very convincing, sort of, kind of theater display to the referee, Emerson actually immediately came in to, make a big, kind of scuffle with Gabriel. We also saw Harry Kane, Dave. I think someone even pointed out in the comments, this also happened here. Harry Kane, like when Cedric went up to the referee, Harry Kane like shoved him away like he was a little fly, like someone said. It was great to see, actually, the team when this happened. The team wasn't, kind of just clapping or, kind of accepting it. They were, backing up, Sonny and, kind of, keeping the intensity and getting the Arsenal players even more riled up and getting them even more rattled.
And look, he's ready to kill him. But I love seeing it, Jack, because, Gabriel's standing there playing the innocence. And, they're both countrymen. And Emerson's looking at it and he's like, is this guy for real? He's trying to claim it shoulder to shoulder. So he went straight over to him and had a nice little word with him, ruffled up his feathers. In fact, probably trying to get some pushing and shoving going so that he would get a yellow. It's absolutely brilliant shithousery from Emerson. But I just love the way he came in to protect Son. In a way, I felt like he was protecting Son by doing that. And he's like, look, stop playing up for the Sky Sport cameras. Stop talking shit. They have VAR. They're going to check it. He's off. Tough tits. And I just love the way he went into ruffle feathers. But we also need
barreling in too, Dave. Like, let's be honest. Like, when we saw it on screen, like he came barreling in. Like, you couldn't even catch him on camera. Like, he was running in, so fast as well, Dave.
100%. I could not agree more. And Jack, do we have the Harry Kane ones as well, where as soon as it happened, look at him straight away. As soon as it happened, scream that. And this is something we've spoke about. We do not ask the ref enough questions. We do not scream at them like other teams do. And you do it, what happens, Jack? And I've said this time and time again, puts the pressure on the referee to make a decision. He had to make the decision, and it's good by Holding. I love the way, because it was instantaneous. As soon as it happened, she came straight away down to the referee. Look at him. He's about to grab the cards from his pocket, you said earlier, Jack.
Yeah, he's saying getting out quicker, Dave. He's saying getting out quicker. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you taking your time for? That's what Kane is doing. It's practically, Dave, like I said to you in the back end, he's almost about to slap him in the ass, trying to, get it out of his pocket quicker. He's just saying, Paul, let's hurry it up here.
I love to see it.
It's good to see players like Emerson and Kane, kind of not only defending Son, but also, kind of, giving that edge, getting us ahead, in the referee's playbook, helping us, have that psychological edge ahead of Arsenal, getting them rattled, but also, playing more to the ear of the referee. Like teams like Chelsea, I think, are just always brilliant at. Teams like Liverpool are always really good at. And I think we're seeing a bit more of that from teams like from us, to be fair. And I was even asked that just quickly on one stage, I think on Paxton Road, was like, do you think Spurs will win the physical battle? And I'm like, no question. I mean, we're by far a nastier team than Arsenal are. By far a nastier team. We don't get as many red cards, but we
Whatever.
simply have much bigger, tougher, bigger shithousery, sort of players, in our team, much more experience, like kind of bigger, meaner sort of players as well. Like it played into our hands, and it was good to see Harry Kane doing this for sure, Dave.
No, it was. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, look, we often sit here. Why did United get favourable decisions? Why did Chelsea? Why did Liverpool? Well, the reason is because they're always surrounding the referee. At every chance the referee gets to make a decision, you can guarantee the first thing you see is one of them in their ears trying to get the decision for them. And I believe this is something that Conte has brought in, to be honest with you, Jack. I believe he said it to the team. Look, Mourinho tried. He says, look, you've got to be a bunch of see you next Tuesdays. You can't be nice guys. But what I think Conte has come in and he just says, okay, you don't need to be see you next Tuesdays. You just need to be streetwise. Start surrounding the referee. Start doing these bits and pieces, and it's paying off.
Yeah, it is paying off. But I just want to quickly show, maybe before we get into, kind of Sonny's, or before we get to, kind of Sonny's goal later, Dave, I kind of just wanted to show, kind of a great play. But actually, first, let's get to Adrian Chia's super chat here. And he's saying Lego Head's reaction was priceless after the red. I mean, Adrian, I don't even know if he could see straight. I said this on the watch along. There's so much hair gel in Adrian that, the fumes from the hair gel, you could barely see straight, my man.
In fact, did he not just walk back to some like Ralph Ragnick looking fucker, to ask him what to do? If I remember correctly, that's what he done. I thought it was Ralph Ragnick. I thought he was off to Austria, and he's standing there, get out the playbook. What do we do? I mean, honestly, what an idiot. He was so clueless. Even Arsenal fans are saying that today. He was so clueless. Didn't know what to do. Like a deer in headlights. Idiot.
This was a really good chance that I, kind of, noticed in this game, Dave, that I feel like we should highlight because it kind of led to, a missed chance, but it still was actually beautiful football, if you remember correctly, because it actually starts with Emerson again, playing it into Højbjerg. What's up?
I just knew it would be this one. I knew you couldn't resist.
I think we should do it before. I don't know, Dave. Would you rather do Sonny's other goals before we?
No. I just knew it would be this one. That's why I'm laughing. It's brilliant.
Yeah. But it started with Emerson here. Plays into Højbjerg. Højbjerg, like we even said during the watch long, who says he can't pass? Who says he can't run the midfield? I mean, look at this. He touches it with the left. And then he plays it immediately with the right. And look at this vision here. I mean, the guy is just seeing through the entire sea of red. And he's practically just playing just right through the lines. I'm actually surprised this didn't count as a through ball when I looked over at FB Ref for the stats. But, they're kind of robbing my guy Højbjerg there. But just a beautiful pass, Dave. Plays it right into Sessegnon. Sessegnon, first time, as he should, goes for the first time ball across the 6 here. And it goes to Sonny. And Sonny misses the chance. But before we get on to Sonny there, I mean, Dave, like you said during the watch along, who said Højbjerg can't pass? I mean, look, it was just ludicrous. In fact, everybody's talking about the guy now. They're all starting to say, oh, well, he's in the same form he was when we praised him under Jose Mourinho. I mean, look, for me, the guy never really went out of form. He was still doing all the right things. It just he had an idiot behind him that made him look bad because when Højbjerg went to press, which is what a midfielder should be doing, which is winning the football, it's what they're in there to do. That's their main job. Harry Winks was packing his bags and waving off. He says, I'm off to, I'm off to Spain. I'm going on a week's holiday. And it's like, press. What are you doing? Why are you standing behind me? Get up here with me. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Højbjerg is a good player. Every team, and I'm going to keep saying this until I'm blue in the face, every team has players like Højbjerg. Real Madrid have Casemiro. Chelsea have Conte. Man City have Gondwan or Rodri, whichever one of them idiots do it. Fernandinho. Liverpool have Fabinho. Why can't we have a player like that? We can't have 10 Glenn Hoddles or 11 Glenn Hoddles in the team. You need players that win the football. You need players that can play. And Højbjerg can do that. Like you said to Jack, and touched it with the left foot, passed it with the right foot. Who said the guy can't play football? It wasn't us. In fact, we were trying to tell people, I think if you watch the games closely, you'll find he can play football. And look, for me anyway, Jack, the debate was out the window when he played that ball for Harry Kane against Leeds. It was out the window. It was done. Thank you. Just this comment from Welsh Gal. I mean, really, Dave, we've said this before to each other. So Welsh Gal, I mean, she knows her stuff, so we're not surprised here. But she's more than right. I mean, Klopp, Welsh Gal, you've seen this before. He practically positions himself right next to the fourth official the whole time, and he's in the fourth official's ear the whole time. He's probably even talking about, what they're going to eat after the game, and things like that. He complains about every single call if it doesn't go his way. If the call does go his way, he's making jokes, kind of laughing, kind of enjoying things. Same thing with Pep, always in the ear. You're absolutely right, Welsh Gown. We need to just have a manager that's similar, that has, a similar kind of authority or a similar kind of influence on the referees.
No, 100%. 100%. I couldn't agree more. Look, we've said this time and time again. Too nice. We want to be the nice guys. We think because everybody hates us, we have to go around and be the nice guys. No. Just be you a see you next. Just be a see you next Tuesday. If people already hate you, just be a see you next Tuesday. There's no point in trying to make them like you. Other teams are arseholes towards us. Just be an arsehole back. I was brought up by my old lad. Treat somebody the way they treat you. So that's what I do. People treat me as a Spurs fan badly, I treat them badly. And at the end of the day, if other teams are going asking for the referees, why would you not go and ask the referee for a decision? Why would you stand there and just watch them get decision after decision without contesting it? If you want the decision, you've got to be forced in there, and that's what Harry Kane was.
The ball, Dave, came from Sessegnon here, first time across the 6, and it goes to Sonny here. And Sonny does miss the chance, Dave. Your thoughts on this?
This is the one after he scored, right?
Yes, I think he does have a goal by now.
Right.
Yes, he does have a goal by now.
Now, I'm asking Sun fans, stick with me. I'm not having a pop. I think I'm going to say this all now because I get accused of, you don't like Son. I love Son. He's world class. Do not forget I said this because people pretend I don't say this. I did say this. But my point is right, Son was angry coming off. Rightly so. He had a chance to match Mo Salah for the Golden Boot going into Burnley and Norwich, right? Rightly so angry coming off. Now, what I say to people is, this is a good chance. If he scores this chance, which puts him on 2 goals just like Harry Kane, for me, he doesn't come off the pitch because he's on a hat-trick. There's no way he comes off the pitch. But because he missed that chance, for me, that's why he was hauled off. And I get he wasn't happy, but if you put that away, you stay on the pitch. I don't know whether people agree with me.
He's not hauled off because he misses it. He's hauled off because he's not on a hat-trick because he missed this chance.
Yes. Yeah, he's hauled off because he's not on a hat-trick. And it's like, if he would have scored that, for me, you apply the same rules that you applied to Kane to Sonny. He's on a hat-trick. You don't take him off. But because he missed this big chance, I think perhaps that's why, he was taken off and not Kane was taken off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like he said, I think that was it. I think it's just the fact that this was his chance. That's the whole point, it's being brought up. That was his chance to be on a hat trick, to have a brace. Didn't go for him. And that's sort of the chance that he had to maybe not be taken off, where had he scored that, he'd be on a hat trick. Conte wouldn't dare to take Kane or one of them off because one of them, is on a hat trick. So had he scored that, he'd be on a hat trick and he probably would have stayed on the pitch. And Sonny would not have been so upset. But at the end of the day, everybody, Conte and Sonny, they still enjoyed a bit of a hug, a bit of, some laughter at the end of the game. All is good. All is well. So don't have to worry about it whatsoever. There you are. It's beautiful to see. But might as well, move on to his other goals, I think. I believe we're going to go to just quickly, actually, the Kane goal maybe first, actually, because we want to go in chronological order. Yeah, sorry, Dave.
Just quickly, the hottest Spur. I'm not criticizing the guy. I want to stress this. I'm not criticizing him for missing the chance. I'm just merely saying he came off upset because he was taken off. Rightly so, I would be upset. But if he puts that chance away, which I think was in the 76th minute, if that goes in, he stays on the pitch along with Harry Kane for him to go and get the hat-trick. That's all I'm saying. But the decision was made for Conte because Son was only on 1 goal. But if he took that chance, he wouldn't have come off.
Yeah, well said again. Big up the hottest Spur. Kane's goal, again, everybody started from a corner. You can actually see right there, And it's something we saw actually brought up before, I believe, with
Leicester.
Leicester City, where we saw, I think, the likes of Dyer and someone else blocking off somebody for
Romero.
for the header. Højbjerg this time is blocking off Cedric to allow Kane to run to the back post. Interesting thing is, though, no one's deciding to mark Kane. And then Kane running full force to the back post. Arsenal fans, they were upset that Kitty Cat didn't make, much of an effort in defending this. Dave, when you kind of think about it, the fact that he's kind of like already free here and running full force to the back post, it's very hard to like defend that then, because you would rather him just be marking Kane, because then you would have a better chance of defending it. But when someone's running full force, on your blind side, like, I don't know, I kind of, as much as I want to roast Kitty Cat there, I actually didn't really think he did whole lot wrong here. If he isn't going to mark him, if you're not going to mark him, like, you can't.
He's not marking anybody though, Jack. I think that's the problem. He's not marking anybody. But what I think this is a training ground routine, Jack, because I genuinely, if you remember back to the Brentford game, I think that's where we learned it. Because remember, they done the same routine to us 3 times and got Ivan Toney free with the same routine 3 times in the first half before anybody copped onto it. And what were they doing? Blocking off the players, leaving Ivan Toney free, weren't letting the players get out to him. Now, you think they would have learned their lessons or looked back to the Leicester game and said, okay, the last person to score from a corner kick was Harry Kane. Make sure he's marked. He's standing there free. But the other players knew that, and they couldn't get out to him because Højbjerg is blocking him off. He's stopping them from getting out to Harry Kane. It's very clever. It's like you can't really do too much in the box anymore without a free kick being given out. But you can block people. So that's what we're starting to do. And just interestingly enough, Jack, I was listening to Aaron Ramsbottom on the Fuzzcast before the game and this week. And he was saying, it was a mad stat, bro. There's some stat guy on it. And he was saying that up until the Leeds game, Arsenal hadn't conceded from a set piece all season.
I remember that.
They have a set piece specialist coach in so that this doesn't happen. Well, it happened.
Yeah.
I want to credit Harry Kane because he could have easily went offside, but he didn't. He stayed onside.
Yeah, good point there. But look at, Bentancur, Dave, just rising like a phoenix over the rest of the players, like an absolute stallion, getting above them, wins the header right above them, nods it down to Harry Kane. The rest of the story. Harry Kane nods it in, kisses, the goal line as well. But, look how low he gets as well, knees practically on the ground, just making it, no flashy at all. Just make sure as it goes in. Doesn't, even put his foot to it, wants to get dirty, wants to put his face, in the turf right in front of the goal line as well. Really good to see from the man. I think this was after the second goal as well. The 3 faces of Conte from his celebration as well. It initially starts with, the elated celebration, moves on to, kind of the angry celebration, then moves on to the Godfather mean mug, which is what I was talking about in the watch along. Look at that third one right there. Look at that Godfather mean mug right there. Absolute baller.
He looks absolutely out of it, lad, on the third one. Looks like he's had a good disco biscuit.
Love to see it. But I think we'll move on to, then Sonny's, as well. In the case of Sonny's, Dave, this one actually was pretty exceptional goal, actually, to be fair. Started off with a pass from Sanchez, and Sanchez was doing a lot of things that, in fact, Romero has been doing from us in these sort of positions, and you can kind of see that from this pass here. We've seen Romero make this pass into Harry Kane, or even attempt this pass into Harry Kane in lots of occasions, and it was good to see Sanchez doing the same thing, and it's actually a bit of a dime, actually, as well, if I remember, too. He plays it quite well. You can see Harry Kane posting up for it. Harry Kane receives it, just goes right into his feet, showing Gabriel the weight room. Gabriel's trying to work around him, just can't seem to find a way through. Eventually, kind of Gabriel sort of drags both of them to the ground, David, but he keeps kind of like lunging at it, Gabriel, and eventually just pushes it out to Sonny here. Sonny is able to then just strike it first time, and we'll talk about this later, but I must say, everybody, this finish that he does is actually quite exceptional. And again, a reason why I really want to rewatch the game is because Sonny delicately chips and places this ball. I actually thought he kind of just smashed it and it got like deflected or something like that. he actually delicately places this around Tomiyasu. It's honestly like a world-class finish, and you're not going to be surprised when it comes to Sonny world-class finishes. But Dave, this pass from Sanchez.
Yeah, Jack, and look, he actually done this a couple of times, to be fair. Look, I took bets with you and Nick before the game. I was like, how long before Sanchez pisses me off? I gave him 3 minutes, but in fact, he done it with inside 20 seconds. But from there, he grew into the game. And Jack, I thought he was okay on the day, but, you brought up stats that apparently, he's done a hell of a lot more passing than what we thought. But he did do a couple of these passes, and it was good. But, again, I love the way that Harry Kane is in that position. He holds them off.
It's like Lukaku actually did the same thing to them in the beginning of the season. Yeah,
he's so strong, holds them off. Gabriel is all over the place. Honestly, I think he was probably wishing he's on holiday in Disneyland with the kids, But let's go to Sonny's strike, Jack. I mean, the image that you have where just before he strikes it, that one there. Now, look, he's pulling on that. That defender is already jumping out and his studs are up. He's going to catch the top of Son's foot if he comes right through that. Okay, I've been there. I've done it. It's sore. Now, what I wish I had at that time was Son's brain. Because what he does is he knows, he already knows that's going to happen, right? He knows, first of all, he's going to follow through. They're going to come down on the top of his foot, and that hurts like fuck. Second of all, it's going to take a ricochet. It's not going in. But then, Jack, what he does, and this was the perfect image to get, you can see, just delicately with the inside of the boot, just chips and floats it round them into the net. It's an absolute unbelievable finish. And if he doesn't do this, there's no third goal. No third goal. And what we're talking about, right, is it takes us a minute or two to get it across. But to kind of give people a feel of how good that is, in replay, that's split seconds. To do everything we've talked about and broken it down across a few minutes is split seconds with what Sonny done. Decision making, execution. It's unbelievable. The guy is world class.
Really well said, Dave. And if you doubt David's love for Sonny, look how beautifully he just described, that, elegance from Sonny. And I would say even, the biggest Sonny fans in the world probably wouldn't be able to describe how gorgeous that goal was and the way that David did there. But I think, we have actually some other things that we wanted to bring up, Dave, as well. I think one of them actually had to do with the fact that Emerson missed a few chances on the day and actually could have scored even a hat trick.
He even puts them on his own highlight reel, Jack, and I was watching it.
He puts his own misses on his own highlight reel. Oh, you got to love the humility.
I was watching it, and I was like, a highlight reel is supposed to make you look good. You know what I mean? Why are you putting your misses into the highlight reel? Because all I do is when I look at them, I'm like, you should have scored that, should have scored that, and you should have scored that. But I love the honesty, and I love the ego, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm just loving Emerson more and more. It just seems like, we've just signed an absolute lunatic. One of his chances, Dave, it started with a Cedric pass that gets intercepted by Højbjerg, leads to a really good chance, actually. In fact, Højbjerg first times this pass beautifully into the Sonny. Sonny from there actually plays Harry Kane. Harry Kane megs Gabriel after this one, which I forgot to take a screenshot of. But then it actually trickles its way over to Emerson. Emerson kind of with a difficult chance. Like, you just wanted him to challenge the keeper here. I think you just wanted him to challenge the keeper at least here. You want him to get it on target because he went for kind of the near post screamer, just sailed into the stands and, ended up being a souvenir. But pretty decent chance for him. I don't know what else there really is to say, Dave, apart from, you probably do want to test the keeper maybe a bit there.
Yeah, look, if I was him, I'd keep it low and hard. I wouldn't put it wide and high into the sky like he did. But look, at the end of the day, he was there. He makes up the ground to get there. And he had a very good game against Arsenal. That's 3 good games in a row now. Another one in the
58th minute. Yeah, another one in the 58th minute came from Harry Kane, actually, ball in. Harry Kane drops deep, I think, from a Sessegnon, kind of surging run. Harry Kane plays this deep ball. He actually has a few different runners to pick from. He has Højbjerg, he has Kulusevski to pick from. So there are a lot of runners going into the box. But he does pick out. Yeah.
Just before you move on, I want to say where on this image is that take yourself back to the penalty. Exact same, more or less, but over the other side with Kulusevski playing it and 3 runners running in at the back post, like we're seeing here. For me, I think Conte identified this. I think he went back to the Brentford game that they played at the very start of the season, that Sky Sports done a big exposure on, that they cannot deal with high balls into the box. And I believe that's what we've done. And it was applied because the penalty is the exact same image, just flipped over the other side. 3 players running in back post, Kulusevski cutting in, playing it over the top of them. And I believe that was a proper tactic because we've identified that that's their weakness. If they do sit back, that's their weakness. They cannot deal with balls over their head in the box.
And in this case, Emerson makes a great run actually in between the case of Martinelli and Xhaka. Xhaka probably doesn't even really know he's there. The ball gets played in. Emerson, he does the right thing by trying to hit it low into the ground, but he gets the direction a bit off because he hits it more or less pretty straight on into Ramsdale. Not straight into him, but just a bit and down to his right. Makes the save probably look harder than it really was, probably because he hit it low into the ground. I think that's the whole point of hitting any sort of header low, is even if you don't get it that far away from them, it makes the save just a lot harder. And, a decent save from Ramsdale, but this was a really good chance for him because he did rise really well. Davey rose first, met it with a lot of power as well. But
everything right, just the direction, lad. That's all it lacked. Just the direction. Everything, like you spotted, the header downwards, right thing to do. He was looking to do that down into the corner, make it hard for Ramsdale to get down to, but just lacked the direction. But look, he's a fucking right back at the end of the day. I mean, if that was Harry Kane, I'd be pissed off,
And he's Emerson. I think it's also, you really have to take it a lot too. And then the final one as well was a 41st minute one. I think this was another kind of back post, sort of ball that just ended up getting to him. He ended up just hitting it with his left foot while he, made this late run. If he could have got his body around to it, maybe he could have hit it with his right. It's tough to kind of make the call, but he had a few occasions where you could say maybe Emerson, maybe Dave, at least deserved one goal, needed to score one of these, I think. Need to score one of these.
Yeah, look, I think if it was Matt Doherty in with them 3 chances, I think he probably comes out with a goal. But what built Matt Doherty up to starting affecting the games? Being in the right positions. And that's what Emerson is building up to the last couple. He's just starting to build up a bit of confidence. He's maybe saying to people, and I think that's why he puts out the compilation reels, I'm not as bad as Spurs fans are saying. That's what I think he believes. And, for me, it might just be a bit too late, but you can see with a bit of confidence and a bit of game time, he's getting there, Jack. He's getting there. One thing we criticised him on, think about a few weeks ago, the guy couldn't pass a fucking football 5 yards. Now he's chesting balls, shouldering balls, skinning players. You know what I mean?
He's found a way, Dave. I guess he's found a way, the Emerson has. But we're going to go on into the last little segment here while we're kind of wrapping up. Gooner's chances. All the chances did come actually to Odegaard, not Martinelli, not Saka. All the chances came to Odegaard. This was a really good one in the 80th minute for them, where Tavares ran down the wing. It was an over the top ball behind Emerson and Tavares. Emerson tries to track it down, can't get there. Tavares plays the ball into the box, goes into Odegaard's feet. Odegaard, you really look at this chance here, everybody, could have done a lot better there. I believe Ben Davies either makes a block here. I think he makes a really good block here, actually, in fact. And Ben Davies, everybody, which is why I wish, again, Peacock had released the game a bit sooner, because we wanted to get a lot of screenshots of, Ben Davies' defensive effort, because he really did have an excellent defensive display. And I think this was one of the blocks. So everybody, just to keep that in mind, Ben Davies, yet again, kind of showing what he did against Liverpool in terms of the blocks, showing that yet again against the scum. Another one here was, right in the 3rd minute, Odegaard found himself right outside top of the box. You could say, if he scores this from here, it's kind of a worldie, but still found himself, another shot
Davies
on goal.
That one as well, Jack.
Davies did block that one with the bottom of his boot. This one I thought was the best chance of any of them. It gets to the top of the box here. He probably could have done better with this. I think it does get deflected again too, though. Spurs are pretty incredible at putting at least something in front of it for Hugo. But yeah, Odegaard, I thought Dave had all the best chances for them. And probably hard to say, like, should he have buried one of these? Because, like, when all the momentum isn't going your way, it is hard to bury these sort of chances because you really have to be sort of like a ruthless, cold kind of striker to put these away. But he probably could have done better with one of them. I must be honest.
I'm a bit conflicted on this. Look, I don't like the fact that a player is getting that much time on the edge of the box at times throughout the game. A better player would probably punish you from that distance. But at the same time, I would rather than be reduced to chances outside the box, which is what we're seeing of late, rather than chances in the box. So, I mean, maybe the only thing I would say is maybe one of the midfielders could probably just position themselves in around the edge of the box, anticipating that rather than being so deep on top of the back line. But like I said, I'd rather them have the chances outside the box than inside the box.
Big up, Dave. And Joe 27, pick yourself up, my man. Good to have you in here, brother.
He's definitely had a beer or two. Let's bring that one up in its full glory. Colourful language, good use of the English dictionary, Joe. You're my type of man. You are my type of man. Love the use of the English dictionary, man.
Bentancur, not as good of a game as Højbjerg, but consistently still putting up those 7 out of 10, kind of performances. Shot creating actions, had the second most on the day with 4, had the third most progressive carries, which is a carry of 5 yards or more forward. Key passes completed, which is a pass that leads directly to a shot on goal, at the second most with 2. Passes into the final third, had the second most with 5. Long passes completed, had the second most with 13. Good display by Bentancur, but Højbjerg, I really thought maybe again takes the plaudits. Tackles and interceptions, had the second most on the day. Switches of play, and he really beat the rest of the team by a huge margin with this, with switches of play. Had 8 switches of play completed on the day. Also had the most long passes completed, Dave, on the day. Højbjerg, and actually had the best percentage of those long passes completed. I think he only missed place like 1 or 2 of them. Passes into the final third, had the most on the day with 9. Bentancur had 5. Passes into the penalty area, had the most with 2. And then progressive passes, which is a pass of 10 yards or more, he had the most as well with 6. Again, Dave, who said Højbjerg can't pass?
I mean, Jack, can we keep this so that anyone that brings it up in the comments ever again for debate, can we just bring this up and just say, look, debate over? We don't even have to talk. You just bring that up, leave it there for 30 seconds, take it down. Look, he was unbelievable yesterday, Jack. Look, he does what we praise him. You know what he does. He comes gliding into people, turns the ball over, tries to switch the play, which we've seen as a common team this season. He's tried it. He's a lot more confident going into the final third. We've seen that against Leicester, seen it against Liverpool. We've now seen it on display here against Arsenal. Passes into the penalty area. I think that was that one for Session, which was one of the 2 was for Session, was absolutely delicious. And even when we were playing bad against Brighton and Brentford, we created 4 chances over them 2 games. He was the one that created them all. I don't hear it anymore about this guy that he can't play football or that all he is just a tackle merchant. He's not. Go back and watch the games properly. He's a creator. He plays. At the end of the day, you can only be as good as the options that like Son, Kane, and Kulu give you. But he's starting to find them now. He's starting to create them passes. I don't want to hear this debate anymore. Is Højbjerg good enough for Tottenham? Remember, we paid 60 million for Ndombele. Absolute dog shit. Could only do one side of the game, and that was be a lazy fucker and just wait to get on the ball. We brought in Højbjerg for 15 million to do the other side of the game. Who looked better out of that 15 million signing compared to the 60 million signing? Højbjerg. So don't give me this bullcrap that we need to replace him. We need to get someone that's better on the ball. Ndombele, according to most people, and even myself for a little while, was fucking the next Glenn Hoddle. Paul Gascoigne, so good on the ball. But he couldn't do everything in midfield. And I keep saying this to people. In midfield, you either have a partnership of someone, one that does the defensive play, and one that does a lot of stuff going forward. Or in a Conte system, you need players that can do both. Because of the way that what he asks of the midfield, you need players that can win the ball and play the ball. And Højbjerg does it. He cost 15 million. And because he didn't cost the 60 million that Ndombele did, people give this guy grief. And I'm fed up with it.
Preach it, Dave, as Zoe is saying, and also the hottest Spurs saying the Højbjerg hate pisses me off so much. The hottest Spurs, I just don't know where they're coming from, to be honest. I just feel like they just don't understand every position in the 11. I just don't. I think they just feel like the three Pogbas are supposed to go into midfield, and that's what most teams are supposed to look like. Like David has said 1,000 times, we're a broken record. Every team has a Højbjerg. Every team has a Højbjerg. Every good team does. Adrian Chia says shots from top of the box and outside of the box seem to be a theme against us. Could have gone anywhere like Diaz's goal. Think Burnley will do that too. Adrian, it's a good fear to have because, those deflections can be nasty and they can, head any which direction, which could wrong foot Lloris. Then again, though, I agreed with David's point, Adrian, that would you rather those shots be coming directly inside our box where we're sitting super deep, or would you rather those shots maybe come from right outside the box with a few guys in front of it? And also, as well, maybe it seems like that's sort of a tactic maybe done by Conte because he's almost doing a bit of the thing, actually, what Burnley do, which is making most of the shots come from outside the box and also filtering the shots so that most of the shots seem to go directly at the middle of the goal instead of going, to the ends. Something that Burnley actually, do quite cleverly. In fact, make the shots from distance look like they're on, but they're a lot harder than they really are, or than they appear. So maybe that's what Conte's going for. But I do agree, though, Dave. Like it is risky because you can have another nasty deflection like Diaz.
Well, Leicester, the game before that, Leicester, Iheanacho's goal or whoever it was.
That was a nasty deflection.
That was outside the box. Yeah. At the end of the day, look, I think the happy medium, Adrian, is just saying to Bentancur and Højbjerg, just one of you just naturally just position yourself just at the top of the box. Just be in and around there. And I think that's maybe, look, the one against Leeds was because Harry Winks, again, it's a midfield issue. But I'm just thinking like maybe Conte for a happy medium could just say to one of the players, rather than everybody drop deep expecting that ball to come across, just the one of the midfielders just sit on the edge of the box. Because it is becoming a team. We are conceding goals outside the box. But like I said, I'd rather concede from a long-range shot and just go, okay, fair folks, rather than having to sit there and berate Davies and Dyer,
Yeah. Really good point, though, Adrian. And really appreciate support as well, my man. Sessegnon, Dave had the most pressures on the day, in fact, with 24, and also had the most successful pressures, had the most tackles won, and had the second most ball recoveries. So a better day defensively from Sessegnon. Actually was so close to getting yet again another assist. I didn't think he was as good going forward, to be honest, because I just don't remember him doing a lot going forward, if I'm going to be fair, Dave. And also the stats sort of back it up, to be honest, to an extent as well, because he didn't really have any good forward stats, which is why I didn't kind of.
He done two things. He done two things going forward. One of them was from a quick free kick, and you straight away when you seen it,
He had two opportunities to get a good assist.
The other one was to pass across the sun slightly behind him.
He had two opportunities for an assist, is how you could say it. One of them he failed miserably. The other one didn't really play Sonny the best of balls, but probably should have still gotten an assist at the end of the day. When you look at it,
Saka out the game, though. He took Saka was non-existent.
He's defensively incredible, and I think the stats from this game really show that here.
I'll be honest with you. I think he's starting to convince me that maybe just give him a shot next season. Just say to him, look, if you keep yourself fit, you get injury prone, get out. But I started looking at it. You go back to Liverpool start of the season, Man City, Liverpool again there the other day. Now Saka. Defensively, I mean, he's absolutely solid. So I would maybe look, he's 2 games to go. I don't want to see him be a dickhead now for the next 2 games. I want to see him perform, but I'm maybe starting to err. Maybe we should keep this guy. Maybe there is something there.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. Emerson, most crosses, most tackles and interceptions, second most carries into the final third. Passes made under pressure at the most. A lot of people were tied with 6, though, to be fair, though. Like, a lot of people were tied. So to take that away. Ball recoveries at the most, but a lot of people were tied with that one, and had the fouls drawn the second most. That's actually one of my favorite things about Emerson, is that he actually draws a lot of fouls that get us out of pressure. And it actually, I think, has been most useful in games like this and in the bigger games, because you do find yourselves in the bigger games where you do need to have the team breathe a little bit, collect themselves, pick up the ball, recycle possession a bit more, not have it be so end to end and so tense. And, when Emerson goes down and, sells it to the referee, really does, get us out of, those sort of kind of moments of of intensity, or those moments of when we just need to steady the ship. He does help us out with that. And he had a good defensive display, and probably, in my eyes, in terms of the actual progression of the football, I think had a better day than Sessegnon in terms of the actual build-up play. But Sessegnon found himself with the better opportunities to get an assist than Emerson did. But Emerson, probably you could say, had a better contribution.
Well, Sessegnon could have had 2 assists. Emerson could have had a hat trick. I mean,
that's actually fair. Actually, touche. Emerson could have had a hat trick. Sessegnon could have had a brace of assists. Emerson, though, I guess my point is, maybe had a better contribution to the overall build-up play on the day.
You should actually put that up on Twitter and tag Emerson. He might actually get in contact and say, bro, can I put that up on my Twitter page? Just to go with my highlight reel. You should. I'm not messing. I'm genuinely serious, Jack. Genuinely serious. He probably will want it to put up there, But look, I do want to praise Sessegnon and Emerson just briefly, because we've given them a lot of stick. Spurs fans have given them a lot of stick, not good enough to be here. This, that, and the other. And in the Conte system, we need better. I get it. But they are starting to play good now. And when you look at the positions Emerson is picking up, the only thing you get better is someone that maybe can finish them. And with Sessegnon, the only thing you're going to get better is someone that will actually execute the pass. But over the last couple of games, there's not really much upgrading on the two of them you can do. Now, don't get me wrong, I would like to upgrade. By no means am I sitting here and saying I want to rest on my laurels. But rather than needing 2 in both positions, I think now you only need 1.
Let's break down some fantastic stats from a player that honestly had an unexpectedly sensational game, at least in the stats, at least. Davinson Sanchez, everybody, was doing everything, at least statistically, that Romero has been doing for us in that right-sided center back position. He had 16 progressive carries on the day. 16. And that is a carry of 5 yards or more forward. He carried the ball 16 times forward. I don't think I've ever seen a player with this team have that many progressive carries on the day. A huge element of that has to do with the 10 men. Huge element.
Yes. Yeah.
But Davinson Sanchez at least took advantage of that clearly. He clearly took advantage of that. And that's what's good to see, Dave. He didn't hide in his shell, didn't get too rattled, didn't get too comfortable. He didn't get too comfortable, took risks. And that's what you want to see. And that's what Romero would have done. And maybe that's what these stats are showing, is this is what Romero would have done. These are the stats Romero would have had, in my eyes. Carries into the final third, had the second most with 3. Passes made under pressure had the most. Progressive passes had the most on the day with 6. Passes to the final third had the second most with 5. And passes into the penalty area. From Davinson Sanchez with the most with 2. He was tied with Højbjerg.
All of these had to have come when we went down to 10 men, though, because
absolutely.
The first 15 minutes, he was rocky as fuck. He was shaky. But after that, I had no nerves with him. After the first 15 minutes, I had no nerves with him. But up until then, he was rocky. So, again, look, I love the stats. Look, it
makes you want to rewatch the game. It really makes you want to rewatch the game, because I agree with Tyler. Like, he was shaky this whole game, but I guess he must have been doing a lot when he did have the ball.
Yeah, but
it probably wasn't pretty. Then maybe that's the point. Probably wasn't pretty.
What I will say is, look, credit to the guy, because if he would have just started passing it sideways like I've seen our defenders do at times this season, I would have said, look, why? Let these just come in the team and affect it. So, look, even though me personally, I believe a lot of them stats are probably, like you said, Jack, manipulated because of the red card Arsenal got, and he had a lot of space to do stuff in. But at least he went and done it rather than taking the safe option. At least he went and done it. Correct. But by no means am I looking at Sanchez and said, oh, man in a match, unbelievable.
Turned into Pau Torres.
We need to keep this guy. No way. Yeah.
I agree, Dave. But yeah, like you said very well, at least he took advantage of that opportunity. in terms of Ben Davies, also had a good game statistically. Progressive passes had the second most, passes into the final third. He actually had the most with passes into the final third. So the center backs really did help out a lot in possession this game because of the 10 men. Interceptions had the most, ball recoveries had the most, clearances had the second most, progressive carries had the second most with 8. But again, puts into context like Sanchez's 16. Carries into the final third, 4. But yeah, Ben Davies also had a great day.
And you know what, Jack? I've given the guy a lot of criticism, and I don't take any of it back because I've been right in what I've done. I've been right in criticizing the guy and pointing out, because the reason why I do it, Jack, is because I just want him to be better. But against Liverpool, against Arsenal, he's had 2 good games. For me, the best out of the 3 centre-backs on the pitch against Arsenal. The best, maybe. I love Romero. I do think Romero had a good game against Liverpool. But in terms of the blocks he made, probably the best centre-back on the pitch against Liverpool. Maybe. But the point is he's improving. He made one mistake, and that was the one, Jack, that we had a good long discussion on, where the ball dropped out of the air and he ended up giving away that free kick. I mean, we're going to bring it into there, but you know what? There's no point because Arsenal didn't really test us. But what I would say is, if you do see that, people out there that are watching, we cannot give that away against Burnley. Yeah. Because we will be punished from that set piece. We cannot give that away from Burnley. But in terms of on the ball, putting his body on the line, which he has been, turning away from shots, but he's not doing that anymore, and he's learning, and I've got to give the guy praise. And for me, like I said, Jack, I think the best centre pitch defender on the pitch today.
Yeah, really well said, Dave. Eric Dyer, not really as... I think he had a solid game, right? The stats, everybody, they never tell the story, but, they do help maybe with the seeing eye test and whatnot. But Eric Dyer, at least what he had a good day in, in terms of it.
Say that. Looks incomplete. Is that how little he had to do?
Yeah. Well, just, I guess what, I'm trying to include the ones that they sort of, were first or second in, and so he wasn't, first or second.
Maybe it's just testament of how little he had to do, to be honest.
I think, but that's like whenever we have a good game is whenever Moon Boots doesn't have to do very much. He kind of, that's, if he has to do a lot, it's usually when we're having a poor game. Yes. Ariel's 1 though. Ariel's 1 is 4, not too many, but did have the most. Long passes completed though, tied the most with Højbjerg. Just obviously the percentage wasn't as good as Højbjerg's. Ball recoveries tied for the most, just showed how many people had a lot of ball recoveries. Clearances though did have the most. He always leads in clearances, and that's probably has to do with the position that he takes up in the back line. But there was also, just quickly before we get to the super chats, 2 more players that we had to get to for the stats. Harry Kane, Dave, had the second most successful pressure. So it shows how much the London Derby means to Harry Kane with how many pressures that he put in. And also successful pressures, Dave, lead to a turnover of the ball. So led to 7 different turnovers, Harry Kane, with the pressure that he put in. Players dribble past had the most. That's usually always the case. Progressive passes received, which is a pass of 10 yards or more, had the most with 9. Shot creating actions had the second most with 4, and then fouls committed had the most with 3, I think, as well. So Dave, actually, I think what the stats really do show is that Harry Kane was putting in the hard work and the graft and the passion today. The North London Derby does mean a lot to him.
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, he was involved in the 3 goals, scored the penalty, was involved in the build-up play for Sonny's goal, and he scored the header off the top of Bentancur's header. So for me, look, I actually thought Kane had a very good game. And I actually thought, because Son was so good at his job doing the decoy, in the second half, it kind of allowed Kane to kind of go into that role, pick up the ball, start playing them balls over top, and get Sonny to go forward. So, I mean, I think they shared that responsibility. But I thought Kane was outstanding. Look, any ball that came into him, he had the holding off of the centre-backs. He had them pinned all day long. I thought on the ball, nowhere near as wasteful as maybe as he's been in recent weeks. I thought a lot of this, when he was on the ball, a lot of what he was trying to do, he executed an all-round a good game. Look, I had no doubts he was going to show up for North London Derby, Jack. I said to people beforehand, he hasn't scored in the last 2 North London derbies. He's going to do everything in his power to score this one, and that's what he done. That's what I expect from the big man.
Done.
Big age.
Done and done. Sonny, Key passes completed had the most. And again, a key pass is a pass that leads directly to a shot on goal. Shock reading actions had the second most with 4. Passes made under pressure at the second most with 4. Fouls drawn, not a surprise there, had the most with 5. The guy was just being assaulted out there. But everybody, those are all the stats and all the players. Really do hope that you guys, maybe took something from some of these. I must say, I think, Højbjerg and Bentancur are always good to compare. Sessegnon and Emerson, I always love comparing. In terms of the forwards, they actually just were ruthless on the day, but, the stats didn't really back up, I think, the good displays that they had, which is always the case sometimes with the stats. The stats don't always really back what you're seeing out there. But we have a super chat in here from Adrian Chia, Dave. I believe. And Adrian Chia is saying, go fund me for the new pants because Sess has ran out of pockets. He's going to need to get cargo shorts.
Oh, I love it, Adrian. That's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Honestly, I'd say his wife is sick of him coming home with the pockets bulging. Saka. Oh, we got Saka this week. Last week it was Mo Salah. Week before that, it was
like Neil Shafton and his card collection, Dave. Neil Shafton and his card collection. Sessegnon is collecting, right wingers around the Premier League. He's collecting right wingers.
Yeah, he is. Big up, Adrian. That's quality. That's a good comment. That made me giggle.
And really appreciate this, Russ Burnham, my man. Really do, my man. He says, I'm not a Spurs fan, as David Jack knows. However, I love my stats and tactical side of the game, so always enjoy watching these. Top work, Jack. Leeds United fan. Big up for us. Really appreciate that, man. That comment really does make our day, brother. But Dark Sun G says it's so great to have a non-injured Kane for once and a non-injured Son. I mean, Dark Sun G, Don't get us wrong. We were without both of them at some stage, and it wasn't at the same time, thank God. But it also hurt us the fact that there was a period when Son was without Kane, and then Kane was without Son. At some stage and period, which we saw, the damage of that because they need each other. We all know that they need each other. So it is good to have a non-injured Kane. You're absolutely right, Dark Sunji, but it's good that just none of them are injured. It's good that none of the front three is injured because the front three is just crucial, absolutely crucial. But big up, Dark Sunji.
Yeah, no, big up, Dark Sunji. Big up, my man. I appreciate that. And big up, Hamilton. We're nearly finished though, my man, but big yourself up. Thank you for Emerson Royale. He makes me laugh, my man. He makes me laugh. Big up, Coach Silva in the house as well. Good to see you in the building.
Big up, Coach. Lessons learned on the day. Emerson has been finding space and chances. He's making these back post runs, as we've been talking about. He nearly had a hat trick. We saw this against Leicester, though, as well. Like, he found a lot of spaces and he found a lot of opportunities. And hopefully we continue to see that. Burnley is going to be a huge test, though, for that because, he's not going to have nearly as much green grass to run into as he would, maybe in these ones. So it is a big test for what we might be noticing with Emerson. I think this would be like the final big test to prove maybe any sort of conclusions that we may be having with Emerson of recent. In terms of goals, goals have the chance of being given away at the top of our box, it feels like. Adrian Chia brought that up. And he seems to have a bit of a concern with it. And Adrian, that's why I put it in the lessons learned. It seems like if we are going to concede a goal, that's where it's going to happen from. So Adrian, completely agree with you. Højbjerg and Bentancur, Dave, I feel like what we're relying on right now is both of them being having 7 out of 10 performances consistently. And in the case of Højbjerg, I think he's probably putting in more 8 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s of recent. But what I think is nice, Dave, is someone like a Bentancur is able to at least hold up the standard of like a 7 out of 10 consistently, which makes Højbjerg then be able to play a bit better and play a bit more comfortably. Because when you have someone like a Winks who puts in like a 4 or 5 out of 10, Dave, it drops Højbjerg's rating even further. So I think just the fact that Bentancur plays well, even when he isn't playing his best, he still puts in a decent enough performance that doesn't detract, I think, from Højbjerg's performance if Højbjerg's having an absolute quality performance. Sanchez in Romero's role, who knows, might be scarily something we might have to look at for the rest of the season. Can he continue it? Definitely something might be brought up on a Kaniki Ansme or something like that, or a pre-match build-up maybe tomorrow. Sonny dropping deep instead of Harry Kane. And that was another thing that we noticed from this one was Conte pulling out the masterclass of instead of Harry Kane, the one that normally drops deep. It was in fact Sonny, and we know that Sonny is good enough to be that sort of player to do it. He doesn't necessarily have the passing range of Harry Kane, but he can make up for it by being able to turn his man, being able to spin him, being able to just ruin him with the quick feet. And that's why he, clearly gave, an early red card to Holding, because Holding just couldn't handle that. But there you are, Dave. That is the end of the tactical breakdown.
Nah, look, I really do hope everyone enjoyed the show, guys. A lot of effort goes into it, a lot of time and effort. Look, it's kind of tag teamed. I point Jack in the right direction, kind of what we're looking for. Jack also has his own ideas and then executes it like a madman. So, guys, everyone give a lot of credit to Jack. Absolutely unbelievable work. A massive thank you to all you guys out there today who's tuned in. Again, for the financial support. You have no idea how much it really does help us, guys. So a massive thank you for all of that. Everyone, don't be afraid to grab that channel membership. We'd like to see everybody with that member's badge beside their name. It'd be absolutely awesome. But Jack, where can people find you, my man?
Everybody, transfer window getting closer and closer and closer, which means I would say Flat Cap Hero Talk becomes your home more and more and more. Videos will be coming out next week. I do promise I'll be getting them out. Going to be having some good conversations with Darius. Just going to be doing more scout reports. Just going to be talking about what we can do to fix Spurs, especially with the potential European, or actually not potential, the European season we will be having. What players will we get in to, fill out that squad? Because we will need not a lot of players to come in, at least 6 by the looks of it from Conte. So if you're looking to, maybe mix and match, maybe compare players that Spurs are being rumored with, which one is actually the best one for Antonio Conte, definitely check out Flat Cap.
Yeah, everybody do get over there and check out transfer window coming up. Tell you, there's going to be players that we're going to be linked with. You're going to be sitting there, never heard of this guy. Let's go and check him out. No need. Jack's got you covered. So just smash that subscribe, and that's where you can go and check them out. But guys, it's been absolutely wonderful. We will be doing the pre-match build-up tomorrow night, so I'm not dragging everybody out of bed 9 o'clock Monday morning to come and have a chat with us. So, guys, we will be seeing everybody around 8 p.m. here tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll see all the names that were in here today back again tomorrow. As always, enjoy yourself. We're going off to have a few beers, celebrate. I hope everyone does the same Friday, now that it's Friday night. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust. See y'all back here tomorrow.
Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.